in the flesh. How are you?
I am well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming in.
Heck
For
yeah,
to the show. I would have seen you while you were in Georgia, obviously, but
yes.
Thank you for coming in here. It's going to be
pleasure.
brilliant. We're gonna have some fun. And we're on YouTube. Danielle's looking like a sexy little teacher, so you might want to jump on and watch the show today. And you might want to watch anyway, because we got some things that are more visual than
we do have some
descriptive.
Visuals.
I mean, how do you describe a tablet? I don't know. And one thing I want to describe right off the bat, we went to a gun show Saturday. It was the Eastman Gun Show at the North Atlanta Trade Center. And we went there on the fun bus. Had a blast. Actually, it was a great day. I just met a lot of different people, did some interviews, which are up on Facebook. You guys can check those out if you want. I am new to interviewing people. So
I bet that's fine.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The first one was just it was a clumsy mess. was basically what it was. That was with the Law Enforcement and Security Private Training Academy, which you know, I'm a big proponent of training. I think everybody, if you carry a gun, I think you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to get the best training you can and be as prepared as you can be. Oh, hold on. I got a call coming in. This might be a call I was expecting. Hey, this is Tech Talk. Who's calling?
This is John.
John, how are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Lilburn.
Oh, okay. What's up, brother?
Not much. Just trying to figure out how you got across the pond.
How did I get across the pond? It was in an airplane.
He swam. He swam across the pond many moons ago.
Yeah. Now, came across an airplane.
Actually, Alex, this is Jeff. I wish you a happy birthday a little while back.
Oh, hey.
DJ Scotty's.
Yeah.
I love your shows, dude. I mean, they're just, you cover such a wide range of everything.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And
yeah, I try to. I mean, it was guns and gadgets, and now it's tech talk, but I try to work in a number of different things.
It's very intellectual as well. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. I've learned a lot from you, so I just want to say thank you for your show.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
That was lovely. And of course, the lovely Danielle, because she contributes a lot to it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you too, Danielle.
Well, thank you,
I haven't met you yet, but I'm sure I will.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, just want to say thank you for your show, Alex.
Well, I appreciate that, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
Punch a little bit at the pond there. And it's very hard for liberals to get across that pond, so I was just kind of curious.
See now this tight. You know, I got into a fight. I've had a couple of arguments with Scotty on air, Dan, on the morning show over it's something that's going on in the city of Conyers, and everybody is now convinced I'm a liberal, and I'm not. I'm one of the most conservative men you'll ever meet. But I also, you know, appreciate people's civil rights and things like that. But yeah, it's funny. Everybody's now convinced I'm like I'm like Hillary Clinton in disguise or something like that. It's funny.
Oh my God.
It's funny. I'll tell you what, if I was a liberal, Jeff, they would not let me in. I think that's a rule.
I had to step out of the group because my battery was dying about 30 times quicker than normal.
Oh yeah, on the messenger. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun though. I enjoyed it, but by the time I finally got a chance to stop and actually read the comments, it was like 3 hours later.
Yeah.
And that takes a while trying to get to all those comments. So.
Yeah, I mean, I mute it for most of the day when I'm at work. I'll chat during the morning show. That's about it.
And that's where I'm like at my work and I'm the busiest and my phone's beeping every 2 seconds at night. And it drives me nuts because I really want to read what y'all are saying, but it's kind of insane. But
yeah,
enjoying the show.
Well, I appreciate it.
Let y'all get back to it.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, that was nice.
We had an actual caller.
Yeah, we did have an actual live caller. Fantastic. Oh, by the way, the number for actual live callers, because I never give it out.
Ever.
678-760-1556. And I'm hoping Christian calls in tonight. This was a young guy that was on Facebook, got into a little debate about the minimum wage and things like that. And I think he had some valid points. And I wanted to actually let him get his points across, and I'll give mine and we'll discuss the actual issue. We'll see if he calls in. Hopefully he does. Anyway, the gun show went there on the fun bus. There was, I don't know, probably maybe 6 or 8 of us. Rolled in, basically balling, right? We did, rolled up like ballers.
I bet. Yeah.
And so Scott and I, everybody goes in and kind of go off their separate ways. And Scott had all the video equipment. And somebody had said to me, "Why are you so dressed up?" I said, well, I'm going to be on camera, so I may as well look nice. But yeah, my first interview, oh God, what a disaster.
Was it
Absolute
really?
disaster. And it's a shame because, you know, I'm a big proponent of training. I hope people will check out this company. This guy is a state board instructor, state board firearms instructor. They now, again, this is a basic level of instruction. If it's your first class, I think this would be the one to go take. It's a 1-day class, I believe is what he said. I imagine half of it, if not slightly more, is going to be in the classroom learning the law, learning about, you know, the self-defense laws, lethal force laws, things like that. And then there'll probably be a couple hours on the shooting range getting some instruction there. But yeah, it's the Law Enforcement and Security Private Training Academy, which is a mouthful of a name. I would shorten that if I were them, but you know, that's me. You can find them. They're on Medlock Bridge Road in Norcross. Their number is 770-572-6474. I have been personally training with 4G Tactical down, I don't know where it is, Southish, Georgia. And Paul is a former Marine FAST instructor, Fleet Academy.
So no such thing as a former Marine.
The
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. He's a Marine.
An
Okay,
inactive
Marine. He was a Fleet anti-terrorist security team instructor. And that's who I've been. My last couple of classes have been with Paul, and I have one scheduled for the end of January now, which is, I want to say it's Tactical Pistol 2 or something like that. I don't know. It'll be fun. Be a lot of rolling around in the dirt, shooting, you know, one offhand and one-handed, and from laying on my back and hanging from freaking branches and stuff like that. It'd be a lot of fun.
Nice.
But while I was at the gun show, in addition to the awful interviews, I picked up this little beauty right here. This is Glock's single stack 9mm. It's a Glock 43. Let me undanger that for you so you can see it. So that's a people have been waiting for Glock to come out with a single stack 9mm. And what they came out with instead was a single stack 380 last year, or the Glock 42. And I actually picked that up the day it was released. I got lucky. A dealer friend of mine in Marietta called me and said, "I have 2 if you want one." And I said, "Yes, I want one." So I went and picked one up.
It's a nice weight. Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, it's a fantastic, it's a Glock 19 miniaturized. If you seriously, if you take all take the proportions of a Glock 19 and shrink them equally in each direction, this is what you end up with. And I really like it. I haven't shot it yet because I picked it up over the weekend. I haven't been to the range with it yet. I'm going to try to go one night this week. Maybe tomorrow. It's ladies' night at the range tomorrow. I don't know if Scotty is interested in getting some people together and going off to shoot. But yeah, this thing is, I really like it. This came in, I primed this. This is a little Blade Tech appendix carry holster. This was $20. Yeah, nice. $20 on Amazon. It's a great little thing. I like these, and I do recommend these to people who want a good holster but don't want to spend a lot of money. Go on Amazon and look for the Blade Tech Clipped, Klipt, and they're available for most guns. And I really like this. But I also got my orange custom-made Cook's holster for my Glock 19, which I'm going to get one made for this as well in orange because I love it. It's fantastic. So yeah, I picked this up while we were there. From a small little dealer, private seller. I think he was a private seller. Had about 12 guns for sale. This happened to be one of them. Gave me a screaming deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had the price on it, and I'm looking at it, and he said, "I'll do it for X out the door," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll take it." I couldn't not. Yeah, I couldn't not take it. It was such a good deal. And for those, the gun show loophole, of course I have a carry permit, so my background check is already taken care of.
Right.
They don't have to run one on me. But he was a private seller, and when I walked up to his table, he was on the phone with the FBI doing a background check on somebody doing a purchase. So even private sellers run background checks on people. So I'm not sure what this gun show loophole fuss is all about. I've yet to ever experience it. That it must exist for them to talk about it. There must be some sellers at gun shows that don't run background checks, but I've never come across one.
Yeah, I don't know.
And like I say, this guy, I got to danger this up again. Like I said, this guy was a private seller. He was doing all the paperwork properly. He had 2 people double check the paperwork after he'd done it, and he was running background checks. So yeah, I don't get it. Loophole my ass. And the only reason I mentioned that is because a big fight broke out on my Facebook because I posted a status. I said, I wonder how many people go to a gun show thinking they won't have to have a background check, only to realize they've been lied to. And it started a shit storm.
I saw that post, but I guess
it turned into a big fight. Diamond Dave, Dave Bowen, he got in on it. Steven was in on it. My friend Chance up in Tennessee, the former Ranger, he got in on it. It was a big old fight. I didn't catch it until the end of the day. It was all going on while we were at the gun show.
So some of them were claiming there is this loophole?
Yes. And like I say, I'm sure it's there. Apparently the FBI say they have a number of evidence, a lot of evidence of it, of gun show sellers not running background checks, and even sellers dealing with customers who have told them, I may not pass a background check, and still selling them a gun without running a check. Again, my own personal experience, the shows I've been to and the guns I've purchased, never come across it. Never. Every person I've ever purchased from did proper background checks and did all the paperwork. But still, just an anecdotal report there.
Do you think maybe there are shady looking sellers at gun shows that you just don't deal with, maybe, that are the ones that...
Well, I always talk to, I primarily talk to, I'm going to say larger dealers. They're the people with the big handgun displays, a lot of rifles and things like that. And they're generally all FFLs and do everything legitimately. Now, there are always smaller tables, guys with old rifles, M1s and things like that. And I never really talk to them. I'll swing by and say hi. And what I should have done is ask them, are you a private seller? And if you are, do you conduct background checks? But the one private seller I did deal with was doing background checks. So
yeah, I wonder if you went in with more of a mindset of finding somebody shady versus finding somebody that looked legit.
Whether I would find shady people. There's a gun show next month in Conyers. I will have to remind myself to do that. And I'm not going to obviously go in there like, hey, I'm cracking down on shady dealers, but I will ask people.
Right. Or try to make a shady buy, because we don't want, to be bailing you out of jail either. But, I wonder, I don't know. I mean, I tend to think there are shady people in every profession. So, I think if you go...
I agree. What I should do, I really should ask every table, do you do background checks? And see what percentage of tables say no, we don't run background checks.
Yeah, I mean, because there are clearly people out there with illegal firearms doing illegal things with them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're getting them somewhere.
Yeah. I personally don't think it's at gun shows, but
Right.
who knows?
Right.
Now, maybe in the parking lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Or that table in the back by the back door.
Sure.
that's
Could
not-
be, right?
Right.
I'll check. I'll
Yeah.
ask around and see.
Just a thought.
While we were there, though, we met some great guys. A couple I want to talk about real quick. These guys, Skyjacker Defense, they are out of Norcross. They're a machine shop, metal work. However, they machine. I was really impressed by these guys. They do machining and Cerakote work. But they also build their own AR rifles. But what got my attention, they were selling the uppers and lowers individually. You could buy a lower, which is I don't know if anyone knows this or cares, but on an AR-15, the only part that's actually considered the gun, the only serialized part is the lower receiver. So if you buy the lower receiver, you have to go through all the background checks and everything. But they machine their own uppers and lowers to it's the tightest tolerances I've ever seen on a rifle.
Really?
Oh, it was perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect. It was almost like it had been hand fitted and the two pieces put together. It was amazing. Then they also build in tolerance for the Cerakote, which is a ceramic coating to protect it that they put on. So after the machining and the Cerakoting, absolutely perfect. The fit and lockup is amazing. Then they built the rifle from there. Lovely chromed bull barrels, stainless steel with a chrome lining. They were using diamond head rails. They had ARs and AR pistols. Amazing and great prices. It was this close.
Yeah.
This close. They had a bronze AR pistol with a 10-inch barrel and a diamond head rail and a I don't know, it was a blade cheek weld. I don't know who made that, but it looked amazing for $800. Well, it was $900, and he would have sold it to me for $8. It was beautiful.
Wow.
It was gorgeous. Anyway, so that's Skyjacker Defense in Norcross. I will be looking these guys up. I know I will, because I want an AR pistol. I'm gonna have to talk to them. The other guy, John Paul Vetter, with Venom Tactical Gear, didn't sell guns. He was he sold gear, bags, rifle cases, all of Magpul's equipment, which is basically add-ons for ARs, magazines and butt stocks and hand guards and things like that for foregrips and stuff for ARs. Gloves, any tactical gloves, knives, and I don't think he didn't have stun guns, thankfully. I think stun gun sellers are a little bit kitschy, to be honest. But
do you really?
Yeah, I do, because they always, it's never a brand name I recognize, right? ASP, the company, make great stun guns, but you never see anyone at the gun show selling ASP stun guns or ASP batons for that matter. That was one thing about these guys, Venom Tactical. They were selling the name brand real deal stuff at great prices. They had, in fact, their prices were so good. I picked up a PMag for my Glock 19, a Condor hat, and I asked him if he would throw in a patch for me, and he did.
You see that from there?
That's nice. Yeah. That's nice. So yeah, again, it may be only $1 or $2, but retail on the PMags is $16.99. He was selling them for $14.99. It's one of the few times lately I've actually found a deal at a gun show. I got lucky. I got a great deal on my gun. I got a great deal on some equipment. I had a couple of holsters made while I was there by Bullseye Holsters. They're out of Orange Park, Florida. They were set up there. They had their stand set up. They had all these blue guns in a pile. Blue guns are replica guns,
Right.
Exact replicas. So they can then take their Kydex, which is a plastic, heat it up, mold it around the blue gun, and make a holster for you right there and then. They made me, I just bought the 43, and I wanted a outside the waistband holster also. So they made me one for that for $40. Made me a second holster for $20 for the 19 because I needed a good OWB holster for each one. Highly, yeah, I mean, it's a great holster, good quality, well made. Bullseye Holsters. What is it? Bullseye Holsters OP. I don't know what the OP is. Gmail.com. BULLSEYEHOLSTRSSOP. Bollocks. Whatever. At gmail.com. If you want it, I'll post it on Facebook. So that was the gun show. It was a lot of fun. Met some good people. We're gonna hopefully hook up with them again in the future. Especially Venom Tactical. He said his business is growing so rapidly. Father and son business, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, his kid was there. Great kid.
Nice.
Good guy. Really nice guys. Great prices. Honest as the day is long.
That's nice.
That's a nice Britishism,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, honest as the day is long. Because he didn't, no bullshit from this guy. If any of the gear had what he perceived as an issue, he told us. You know, he'd tell us the pros and the cons for each piece of gear. Scott picked up a bag from there to carry all his recording gear around. Strangely enough, the exact same bag I have in the trunk of my car, which carries all my gear. So, I'm going to talk about Scott when we get back after this break. Right?
You're going to get us locked out.
I don't think I'm going to get us kicked out, but I want to talk about Scott's purchasing decisions. I want to talk about I'm going to go into the mindset of Scott Spence for you after this break.
All right.
We'll be back in a minute.
That baby is not happy.
Oh, shoot. I'm supposed to press that button. He knows exactly what I'm going to say. He's texting me saying, I still want that gun. See, I just said to Danielle, he's texting me saying, I'm still getting that gun.
Really? Probably not, because I just thought it was funny. I turned over for a second. You were talking about Venom, and then about that time, you said, I'm going to bust on Scott. And I was like, I'm going to get that gun. I wanted to.
Yeah.
The problem is this. If it went from an $1,100 gun at last gun show, and it's now $375, why is it $375?
Why was it ever $1,100?
When it first came out, it was $1,000 gun.
Oh, it's crazy.
Last year, dude, to get one at $900 was like a deal.
What gun is it? What are y'all talking about?
It's called the double tap.
I'll pull it up.
I want the double tap. I don't have my yet. I want the double tap because it's like that size, and it's more square, but it would sit in my pocket perfect for my, not for his needs, but for my needs.
It's this thing right here.
I got it.
2 rounds.
Alex is like, it's garbage, but it's as thick as
It's like
my
a
iPhone.
Derringer.
Hi, Zaylee.
It's like a Derringer.
Hello. No.
My daddy was a big gun guy. He was had his FFL. He
Her
actually,
dad was an instructor.
yeah.
See, I only need it straight up to get you off of me if you get on me. That's the only reason. That's the only reason. And him and Mike, they're all into all the other stuff about guns, and I'm like, I got dudes threatening to kill me. I just want to be able to pop you if you get too close. That's all I need the gun for.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's all I need it for.
But again, 7 rounds.
I know.
Same size.
Well, basically, it's not quite as thin. But literally that I'd have to wear in a holster, where that I just slide in my pocket.
That's true.
You'd never
My daddy
That's
carried
true.
a Derringer.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the time. It was a little bitty thing. I don't, and I'm sure you remember my dad had bare paw hands. He had these humongous hands. Yeah, I mean, it seriously looked like a freaking pencil when he picked it up.
Her dad was he was military, obviously, but he coached
the Roswell.
He coached the Roswell shooting team.
Oh, well, no,
but in addition to that, he went he did things like would get the kids and work with them. I mean, who was the
He
little
had
kid built
state
his own
champions,
1911.
yeah.
He took the time to mentor a kid, built a custom 1911
daring.
with the kid, and things like that. It was
Yeah.
really cool.
He coached Paralympic athletes as well.
Oh, now see, that'd be cool.
Shooters, yeah.
So Jeff Matthias says, because he's been listening.
Yeah, he called in.
He just says, "So I want to bust Alex's chops for being so intelligent."
Uh-oh.
He said, or 39 times in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I say a lot of ums.
I'm trying to break the habit of going, because it's a bad habit.
It's
Especially in a microphone.
Yeah.
It's a very bad habit.
Yeah.
I watched one of the damn WSB Channel 2 guys do it the other day, and I'm like you guys have really been schooled
Right.
not to do it.
How many times? 39.
That's what he said, but who knows if that's legit.
It probably is.
Well, I know Alex's response. Well, your dumbass sat there and counted me.
She hadn't quite picked up nothing yet. Trust me, the F word will be my biggest nightmare with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it right there. Oh God.
You know when I get
But what's funny,
tripped up is when I
upstairs.
realize how fast I'm talking.
Yes,
Then, because I try to slow down, and then
That's
it's
me.
just a
And
train wreck.
he's a little slower than me, but I'm wide open.
Mhm.
So look, go ahead, make sure you bust on me about my 12 gauge, my ammo.
I'm going to. Yeah,
go ahead,
everything.
just light it up.
Everything. I'm going to.
Because I
It's
like
so
my
funny.
12 gauges and all the cool ammo they have now, and he's like, you just want anything that's flashing. You like the oohs and the ahs and the bright lights. And
Mm-hmm.
so he picks on me about
Yeah.
it.
If it's shiny.
If it's
Yeah.
shiny. Hey, I didn't say I wanted to get the nickel-plated.
Nickel-plated sissy pistol.
You like it when it's I like shiny.
That's right.
It's good, right?
You like shiny?
Yeah.
too?
Look, I have shiny. You want to see my shiny shoes?
Oh,
I have on my shiny rock star shoes. Look.
Where's the heels of those things? Good Lord. You gained what, 4 inches with
Oh,
those?
I think they're 6.
And then the backs. God, yeah. Ankle busters, man.
Yes.
All right, when we get up there and putting the anti-friggin' spyware crap on the computer, Emmy gave me her own computer and it just eat up acting stupid. We gotta go.
That would explain why it's not running anything.
Silly rabbit. Say,
All right, well, get up here. We gotta go. Wave bye.
Bye.
bye, Presh. Bye.
Come on, Anna's up here. Oh, we're going.
She is precious.
I swear he sees something. A lot of people do this, by the way. They see something and they're like, "Oh, that's cool as shit."
Mm-hmm.
But it's a novelty. It's a novelty item. Again, instead of that, why not a Derringer?
Mm-hmm.
Derringers are proven.
Yeah.
We know Derringers work.
Yeah.
Look
what
at the
hell is all
innards.
that
Look
shit?
at the
There's
innards.
way too many moving parts there.
Yeah, look at the innards of this thing. It's got a rotating gear
Mm-mm, no.
that runs from the trigger to the sear.
Why?
It's an unnecessary part.
Wait.
It does not need to be there.
Mm-mm.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. But he loves stuff like this. He wants the Caltech. He wants that damn Caltech shotgun,
Mm-mm.
which I've
You
never
know,
seen work.
This is neat for a gadget, but for something to keep in your pocket to shoot somebody when they're up on you, no, sir.
Yeah.
You want a Derringer where the hammer hits the bullet and the bullet hits the bad guy.
He wants one of these. And I know why he wants it, because it looks like that,
Yeah.
right? It's a twin tube 12 gauge,
Yep.
right? So you can load ammo in each of those tubes. But it doesn't
Wow.
work.
Oh.
Every test I've ever seen of this thing fails to feed.
How bad are this double tap thing? How bad is that for jamming up?
Well, it won't jam.
idea?
It won't jam. It's a fixed barrel. It's just like a revolver. It's just like a
Okay.
Derringer. My concern would be this trigger mechanism. I mean, look at that. Look at the trigger sear,
Yep.
and then there's the hammer sear. The yellow part's the trigger sear,
Okay.
right? And then the blue part's the hammer sear. If you look at the dimensions on that trigger sear,
Yep.
that is just a part waiting to fail.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a hairspring
Mhm.
almost. The hammer sear looks okay.
Yeah.
And what is this gear made of? Is it metal? Is it brass? Is it some kind of polymer? Looking at the rest of the gun, I would assume it's polymer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Get a Glock.
Mm-hmm. How much are these things?
He said they were $1,100. Now
But
they're
it's
down
down
to
to like $1.
down to like 400
Yeah.
bucks. But you ain't gonna catch me with one of those. Not when I for the same size gun, I can have 4 times the ammo in my pocket. But this thing, oh, what a disaster. I watched the Military Arms channel on YouTube, and they tested. I'm going to throw this up on the screen so that anybody on YouTube might want to see this. I don't know if on the replay they care, but let me fade to that. So this thing ejects the shells back here at the back.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone, Mac, especially on the Military Arms channel, got affected by this. He went through about 4 tubes worth of ammo, which is probably 24 shells. And every time he was pumping the shotgun, he'd run that action.
Mm-hmm.
It ejects a shell right at the back onto his wrist. Well, he ended up with this big old welt on his wrist that busted open and was bleeding everywhere. So he ended up having to wrap it with a bandage and then put some paper towels on it and wrap it again just to provide some padding on his wrist. I mean, I don't want a gun that's going to hurt me every time I shoot it. It's crazy. But I mean, you got to admit, it looks kind of cool. It's just freaking useless. Now I'm going to have to repeat all that when we get back on the air. So that was stupid.
Yeah,
but it's funny.
That's a mess is what that is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I need to bring that back over.
More about the Priv. What the hell? So is that on major carriers yet?
Yeah, even T-Mobile's picking it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, AT&T, I think, were supposed to be the only, or were reported as the only provider to have it. And now T-Mobile have picked it up. I believe Verizon are getting it.
Well, once one gets it, they'll all get it.
I think it's going to sell quite well.
What is that? GSM versus, I can't even remember anymore.
CDMA, but even Verizon or GSM now. LTE. Now it's all LTE.
Okay.
Which is SIM. Again, it's still SIM card based. Oh, here we go. That's us.
We on?
All right, we're back.
Hello.
So let's talk about Scott. Scott has a case of the ooh shinies, right? Scott will buy any old tat, to be honest. So he's running around like a little chicken with his head cut off at this gun show, checking every dealer for this pistol called a double tap. And I don't know, this thing is it's set up similar to a Derringer. It has 2 barrels, 2 fixed chambers, and holds 2 rounds. But it has a space in the grip to put 2 extra rounds. It looks like on some kind of speed loader thing. But it's rubbish. And he's like, oh, I want it because it's small and it'll fit in my pocket and it's thin and you won't see it's there. But so I just bought the 43. So I whipped it out. I said, you know what else will fit in your pocket and nobody will see that it's there? This holds 7 rounds. Anyway, but I'm looking at this thing online. Scott said that this retailed at $1,100 at one point. And the price is now down to $400, and I can see why, because it's junk, obviously. And I'm looking at an internal diagram of this thing, and I'm going to throw it up on the YouTube screen right here real quick so people can see it. There's so it has a trigger sear, it has a gear of some kind, and a hammer sear. So it has 2 sears, first of all, which is completely unnecessary. The trigger sear, according to this diagram, looks like it's just designed to break.
It's like a bobby pin.
Yeah, it is. It's a hairspring almost. Looks like it's designed to break. This gear, I don't know what it's made of. Based on the rest of the gun, I'm going to assume it's some kind of polymer gear. So
Yeah.
that's just going to break, obviously. And yeah, junk.
Way too much going on in there.
Oh yeah, far too much going on. The other thing that Scott likes is the Caltech KSG, this shotgun. This thing, I swear. So it has 2 ammo tubes on this shotgun, and it's black and scary looking, so it's very tactical looking, right? There's a multitude of problems with this gun. The first being, it doesn't work. That's problem number one. Does not work. I've never seen a test of this shotgun where it fed both tubes reliably without jamming at some point in time. He's texting me.
Is that up on YouTube so they can enjoy it?
I threw it up there earlier. In fact, I need to make sure the cameras are set up here right. Oh wait, what is going on here? Yeah, no, that's us. We're fine. So anyway, Caltech KSG, never seen it work in any test I've seen. Oh, damn, I said again. Jeff, by the way, was counting my ums, and apparently there was a lot. So I got to try to control those. Oh God, there it goes again. It's difficult. I don't know what to say. So Mac at the Military Arms channel did his test of this gun, and this is on YouTube, by the way. It's a YouTube channel with a lot of subscribers, and it's a good source to see weapon testing. he's not happy about this.
Is that Scott?
Yeah, it's Scott texting me. So Mac did his test of this weapon, and it doesn't work. Problem number one, does not work reliably. Problem number two.
That's a big problem.
Yeah, problem number two, when it does work, it ejects its shells out the back of the gun, the way a bullpup rifle would normally eject its shells. However, it ejects them straight down. So as soon as you pump that shotgun, a shell comes flying out the back and smacks you on the wrist. Hard enough that Mac went through 4 tubes of shells, so I believe that's 24 rounds, ended up with a welt on his wrist that had swollen up, popped open, and was bleeding everywhere. He had to bandage it up, then put some paper towel padding on it, and then strap that up again just to finish his evaluation on this gun. I don't want a gun that maims me. Its intention is to do the opposite of that.
I had a gun back in the day that the slide, when it slid back, it would hit my hand. So my dad took it. We talked about my dad was a big gun guy. Took it and rapid fired it a bunch of times, and it chewed his hand up so bad. He took it and sold it. Sold my gun.
Did he really? Hey, this is Tech Talk. Who's calling in? Hello? Okay, wrong number.
All right, then.
That's okay. Yeah, I don't get it. Again, it looks shiny. Ooh, shiny.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks tactical. And Scott, get an 870. Remington 870, brother. We'll even put some furniture on it to make it look nice for you. Trust me, it'll look badass. And it'll work. And it won't hurt you. It won't tear up your arm. So the other thing that Scott loves, now I understand why he likes these things. It's exotic ammo, right? Different kinds of exotic ammunition, like the Dragon's Breath shotgun shells that shoot. They have phosphorus in them, and they explode when they hit the target and set it on fire.
Is that really a thing?
It is a thing. They're expensive as hell, by the way. I think they're like $4 a shell. He loves these things. Any kind of exotic ammo.
Better.
We went from vendor to vendor, and he's looking at all these exotic shotgun shells, and there were shells with one had a slug followed by, I think it was 8 double-aught shot then these massive ball bearings behind him. I don't know what they were, but it was like these 4 big old ball bearings behind it. He's like, I want some of those. I need some of those. Now, those, if they work, I could see a purpose for. If they work, I want to see some serious testing of them. But the dragon's breath stuff, think about this. 99% of the time, if you have to use your shotgun in self-defense, it's going to be in your home. You're going to set your house on
You're
fire.
breathing fire.
You are going to set your house on fire. It's going to happen. So for the fun factor, for going out in the field with your friends and
blowing up watermelon.
Yeah, trying to set fire to a watermelon.
Right.
Don't know. We'll have to try that. Now we're getting some dragon's breath to see if we can set fire to a watermelon. But yeah, so I can see it for things like that. But more importantly, I see people buying this kind of ammo for their handguns, for their self-defense guns. A real popular one right now is the RIP ammo. Let me see, RIP. And I want you to see this stuff. And it looks really badass. And it looks like it will tear you to pieces. Look at that. So it's got jagged, it's a hollow point. It's a very deep cavity hollow point. It's a very lightweight round, so it flies at very high speeds. And you can see how it's made. It's got almost like castle turrets. So it's got deep cuts down through the round.
Right.
A spiky like a castle spiky topped thing around, what do you call that, around the top of a castle, whatever, it's irrelevant.
Right.
And then even these individual paddles are segmented, and the idea is when it hits, it explodes. Okay, it fragments.
Right.
It's effectively an overpriced, underperforming fragmentation round. And the reason I say it's underperforming is because these low grain rounds are effective when they stay together and mushroom.
Right.
And they carry some mass onto the target.
Them, right.
These things, because they actually do break up into little pieces, you end up with about 4 or 5 inches of penetration with a half let's say 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 of these little pieces that penetrate maybe 3 to 5 inches. They don't hit any vitals and they don't do any good. And yet I see people load these in their gun all the time. I've never seen a ballistic gelatin test of this ammo that worked. If again, exotic ammo, I'm not a fan. The only exotic ammo I have, 2 kinds. And neither are really exotic. One is silver bullets. I literally have some silver bullets.
I mean, you have to.
Yeah. And I used to load the first round of each magazine, used to be a silver bullet. Werewolves.
Right.
Obviously.
Duh.
And I have some from a long time ago. I have some rounds that are designed to be used on airplanes in a cabin. They're like a small shotgun shell. Effectively, it's a very deep cavity hollow point with birdshot inside of it, and then a wax slug on the top. Even the wax will penetrate, not deep, but it will be followed up with the birdshot, and then the lead.
Raise hell.
Yeah, then the lead follows behind that. However, it's a subsonic load, so it's basically slower than the speed of sound, and it's designed not to penetrate the skin of an aircraft. A lot of people used to load it for apartments because it would not penetrate through 2 layers of sheetrock. So it still met the FBI's standard 15 inches of penetration in a fluid mass. But it would not, but it would not penetrate through 2 layers of sheetrock. So people loved it for things like that. I never used them. I bought some, loaded them, I think, for about 10 minutes, and then went straight back to my standard ammo. The ones I know that work, the very same gold dots that the FBI have been using for decades, that are proven penetrators and have stopping power, velocity, and everything, and more importantly, barrier penetration. None of these could you shoot through a barrier. Couldn't shoot through a windshield. You couldn't shoot through a door even. And barrier penetration, you may not think it's important, but it is. It is. If you're in your bedroom and somebody's trying to break down that door, and you need to be shooting through that door.
When you climb in your bathtub and you're shooting somebody outside your bathroom door, yeah, you need to break through a barrier.
That's right.
Without setting it on fire.
That's right. So here's Scott just sent me this picture. That is one of the shells.
What?
Right. Now, that's one of the ones I can actually see a purpose. If it works, if it's effective. Now, I would be concerned about any kind of choke on the end of your shotgun with something like this, because, generally you match your choke to your shot and your purpose, obviously. And when you're running what appears to be, so it's 7.5 shot, 50 caliber balls and double buck in one shell, and they're compartmentalized. So the 7.5 shot is right up front, the 50 caliber ball is in the middle, and then the double buck is at the very base of the round. So
why?
I don't know. I would want to test this with many different chokes to see what's most effective with it. But I could see a purpose for this. That could solve a number of problems in one round. Again, barrier penetration, just brute force stopping power, a nice spread with that 7.5 shot, something like that. I could see a purpose for that. I don't remember how much they were, but they were not cheap. But Scott loves stuff like this. He loves it. And if Scott were a billionaire, I think that's what he would spend most of his money on. Exotic guns and ammo. I really do. It's funny.
And I think exotics have a place. I mean, my dad had one of Cara, the young lady that spoke at his service. That was one of his shooters on the Roswell High School team. One of her favorite stories about my dad was he had this really big caliber gun that they took out in a field and shot watermelons with it. You're not going to use that for self-defense.
No.
But, he had self-defense weapons and self-defense ammo. And then he had stuff that was just fun to shoot.
I swear, I think if Scott could if he could set a Barrett, see this right between these two monitors, there's a tripod looking thing. If he could set a Barrett 50 cal on there and use that for his home defense, I think he would. I really do. I think he would love that. Just for the I think a bullet that lights stuff on fire would be fun to shoot outdoors.
Right. Not inside your house.
Yeah.
Not at somebody that's coming at you, because if they're on fire, they're going to continue to come at you, and now they're on fire. My
real concern, though, and I'm really serious about this, if you're loading these exotic rounds into your self-defense gun, if you're out carrying this gun and you're carrying things like this RIP ammo, you really need to go look at the ballistic testing for these things. Because they are so ineffective, it's not funny. And if you're trying to use these in a gunfight against a guy with 9mm gold dots, you're going to lose that fight.
Right.
You are going to lose. So really check into it. I know people like them because they look mean, and they honestly do look effective, but they're not. They're worthless. So please don't carry those. Get some gold dots, use some Hornady critical defense. I've actually I have gold dots obviously on hand, but I've started using critical duty. The Hornady make critical defense and critical duty ammo. Critical duty is a heavier grain round, so it carries more. It's a lower velocity, but it packs a bigger punch, right? Because it's a heavier round.
Right.
And it's the FBI's barrier penetration testing on this was second to none, and that's why I use it. I may not have to shoot through a barrier, but I may. Right. And I'll carry what I know is going to penetrate. So yeah. And he's saying, yeah, 50 cal. He would take a 50 caliber Barrett and set it right here, given the choice.
I mean, who wouldn't really? But who has that choice?
Well, nobody does. And I'll tell you why. Scott was talking about a story that he saw on the news, and some journalist was stood by a table, and there was a Barrett 50 cal on the table, and he was acting like, oh, and people are just rushing out to buy these. He's acting like everyone's going out and buying a 50 cal. We saw one at the gun show, $7,000, $7,000. Probably could have got it for around 65. But still, no one's rushing out to buy a $6,500 rifle, especially when the rounds themselves are $5 a piece. So yeah, kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I deadly serious. Go look at ballistic testing for your ammo. Even if you're carrying a good ammo, go look at the ballistic testing. Preferably a test performed in your gun, or out of your gun, I should say. So if you carry a Glock 19, look for a Glock 19 Hornady critical duty test or whatever it is you carry, and see how this stuff is performing.
Or something very similar.
Something as close as you can, because you really want to know, you really want to understand how your defensive ammo performs before you trust your life to it. All right, we ran over a little bit, so we're going to take a break. And we
got all gunny instead of gadgety.
Yeah, and I think we're about to get on to gadgets.
Yeah, we're gonna refocus.
Yeah, we'll jump there. Yeah. In fact, we're not gonna go. We're gonna go e-ciggity for a little bit.
All
okay,
let's do that.
when we get back.
All right, and we're out.
Be all right. Okay. Yeah, the ooh shiny disease.
Yeah. Which is super fun.
They're called he said they're called Lone Ranger billets, fool. He even remembers the name of this damn company.
My dad had some huge caliber. He had I can't remember what it was. I would text my mom and ask her, but I don't want to get her all fired up again. A gun that was they had the shooting range in the basement. And he had a gun that was so big that he shot down there that we're pretty sure there was structural damage to their house. Like the foundation got jacked up and they had to call in like people to see to it. And my mom is pretty sure that it was because of the large caliber weapons that they were shooting in the basement.
Right.
Which my dad never, ever admitted to, but he agreed after that happened to shoot only up to a certain level of large caliberness in the basement. But he never admitted that that had anything to do with damaging the structural soundness of the. And you
would never admit to that.
You've been to the house in Roswell.
Sure.
I mean, it's not like it was a small house.
Yeah, no, it was no rickety shed.
Substantial house.
It was, yeah.
On a concrete foundation, yeah. I mean, on a basement, but still, it was a concrete basement.
But no, you're never going to admit that may have had
something to do with
contributing factor to
No.
And of course it's impossible that would ever contribute to any kind of structural damage.
No.
I'm going to grab a beer real quick.
No, I mean, he just
on camera
changed the rules to keep mama from being uppity.
Yeah.
But no, it had nothing to do with real life.
I'll tell you
all right.
Do you have a gun? I'm sure you have a gun.
My gun is actually at my mom's.
Okay.
I didn't take it north with me.
Okay. Are you allowed to? Well, you're allowed to have a gun, but how are their gun laws up there for
I need to get a concealed carry.
Okay.
Which I haven't done yet. Kurt's all over me to do it.
Is yours I'm going to hazard a guess that you have a revolver.
I do have a revolver, yes.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Smith & Wesson.
38 or 357?
38.
Or both?
It's 38.
38. I've carried most major calibers. 45, 40, 357. I've standardized everything now on 9mm. In fact, this Glock 43 was the last gun I had to get to complete my transition over to 9mm. I needed a highly concealable single stack 9, and this is what I got. I had a Smith & Wesson Shield, which I actually bought it to test it to evaluate it, and ended up selling it to Jenny because she just got her carry permit and she wanted a good concealable gun. But I'm a Glock guy. I bought a Smith & Wesson, and I'm a Glock guy. I only say that because it's what I train with. They're good. No, don't get me wrong. Smith make a great product, but I train everything I do.
Too.
Yeah, everything I do is with Glocks. Everything I've trained, all my muscle memory is with a Glock.
Right.
I mean, everything about it is. It's not that it's as. Also, they're cheap as chips, and a lot of times in a defensive shooting, the police are going to take your gun. Right?
Every time. Without fail,
Right.
every time they're going to take your gun.
So I want to make sure that I can replace my gun with the same gun.
Right.
Now I have some nice guns. I have a beautiful Springfield out of their custom shop, 1911 Compact 45 out of the custom shop. Compact 1911 is beautiful, but it was really expensive, and I can't risk ever carrying that and having to use it and then the police taking it away, because when they do take it, the first thing they do is engrave a freaking case number into the side of it and ruin it for you, and I'm not going to take that risk. I can risk that with a $500 Glock.
Right.
So that's why I started carrying Glocks to begin with. Primarily the price. It was easily replaceable and affordable. So, and I've just trained with them ever since. For 20 years now, I've been training with Glocks, and it would be, for me to take a class now with any other handgun, any other pistol, it would feel foreign. It would feel really strange.
Right.
Whereas I can pick up any, not this one because it's the single stack, but I could pick up any double stack Glock in any caliber and shoot it well. So, and I think there's something to be said for that.
Right.
Had I done all my training with Smiths, I would probably carry but again, only a specific kind of Smith. I like the M&Ps. I think they're great guns. I would love to, I really did like the Shield. I think it was a fantastic little gun. I'm just so used to the Glock. It just felt foreign to me. What are you going to do? All right, so there is one other thing from the gun show I want to talk about when we get back. It was a piece of equipment.
Okay.
How am I going to describe it? It was a scope mount for a rifle that took your cell phone and turned your cell phone screen into your scope. So your reticle was on your cell phone screen, and the camera was effectively your viewfinder, and you could zoom in. It had a thermal imaging component to it, so it would do thermal. It was, again, very gadgety. I wouldn't buy one, but it was coolish. It was really cool. I'm gonna see if I can find it on the web here real quick.
The interwebs.
Yeah. It was really gadgety, and I would not buy it. Now, one thing he said to me was, make sure it's a dedicated phone because you'll never be able to use it as a phone again. Don't really know what that meant, but So he said, if you have an old phone, like something you were planning on throwing away, use that. So I'm assuming because of the way it has to interface. Well, yeah, I'm assuming maybe with the thermal imaging, it has to do something to the, I don't know. I'm not sure how it works. Nah. It was a bit kitschy.
I would think, just out of curiosity, you would say, what the hell
Let's
does that
see.
mean?
Cell phone rifle scope. Yeah, it was a little bit kitschy. But it really did look kind of, here it is right here. I believe it's this one. The sharpshooter. No. Yeah, I do believe that's it. IntelliScope tactical rifle adapter for iPhone. Huh. That's a mouthful. How do I get to it? Dude, I want that.com. obviously reputable. Yeah,
Right.
here, there's the thermal. There's the thermal imaging.
Huh. I'm bothered with people owning that.
I don't know how it works. I don't even know how much it was. I didn't ask. Let me copy and paste this and actually find their own website. Telescope.com. Even works, look, works with BlackBerry. Look at that. It's got to be shite. Oh. That would be me. That's me. I shouldn't say that.
I came up with another grammar use
Okay.
bug today, and I can't remember what it was. I was drying my hair.
Huh?
I'm trying to think. That doesn't make any sense because I was in the bathroom by myself. I'm gonna have to think about it for a second.
Okay, sight in. How do you zero this rifle? Let's see. Huh? Even has on-screen elevation controls.
Oh my gosh, no, sir.
Ah.
I want to know what it does to the phone.
So do I. And maybe it's in the FAQs.
Oh, hang on. Oh, I almost had.
Oh, we're back on in like 40 seconds.
But yet, it's a double negative. It means not.
It's a double negative. Okay. What is?
But yet. Like, he wants it, but yet he doesn't work for it. But and yet are both negative.
Mm-hmm.
So but yet is a double negative. It's and yet.
Yep.
He wants it, and yet he doesn't work
5
for
seconds. Sorry.
Fine.
Damn this radio gig.
Dang it, I was ranting.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and we're back on.
Hello.
Hello. Oh God. How do I stop saying I just have to think about what I'm
just
saying.
tell people to
And I'm never gonna think about what I'm saying.
tell people just to get the fuck over it.
Yeah.
That's
true.
I say
That's true. If you're gonna sit there and count my come on.
get a better hobby.
He's right though. It was a lot of ums. So anyway, before we get all e-ciggity, which by the way, name of one of my favorite online stores for electronic cigarettes, e-ciggity.
I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. There was one other thing that Scott reminded me about at the gun show. I'm coming into this, excuse the pun, kind of blind, and it's punny because it's a scope.
Yeah.
It's made by a company called IntelliScope, and it's a scope mount that it accepts a phone, a touchscreen like an iPhone or an Android phone, and it turns the phone display into your scope. It uses the camera. It has it looks like an attachment that lines up with the camera, so it uses the camera lens. It's fully zeroable. You can zero it it uses on-screen controls to zero the rifle, which is, I don't know, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I imagine the controls interface with the scope mount electronically,
Right.
and adjust the mount that way. So you can zero the rifle, and your reticle comes up on the screen. Your camera is then your viewfinder. it appears to have a rangefinder. It uses the compass and the gyroscopes to give you a lot of different readout information. It has what looks like a pretty beefy lens on this thing. But apparently only has a 20-degree field of vision. That doesn't seem right. That can't be right. Not looking at the pictures that I'm looking at, but also a great range, a good zoom. Now, here's something strange. I didn't get much information on it, again, because it seemed a bit kitschy, right? Yeah. It's a gadget. And I love gadgets, but not when it comes to my personal security.
Defense, yes.
Yeah. When it comes to my personal security, I like serious shit. This seemed a bit kitschy, so I didn't pay much attention to it. I did get a video of it, which I need to post. I've forgotten to post it. I forgot all about this until Scott texted me a few minutes ago. It also has a thermal and night vision component to it. The camera, I assume it's in the lens, because your iPhone doesn't have thermal capability. So I imagine it's in its lens apparatus. You can turn on thermal and night vision, or IR. Let's put it that way. It's $300 according to this, which it's not something I'm going to spend $300 on to test, but I'm going to look for some videos on this and see.
We need to start getting people to send you stuff for free to test.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
It kind of would.
That would be freaking awesome. And obviously it uses an app which is available on the App Store and the Google Play Store. It's I wish I would have remembered this so I could have done some research into it, because it has the potential to be really effective. It has the potential to be very helpful, especially to hunters at night with the thermal capabilities. Right. I wouldn't want to use this.
It's not helpful to the animals.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to put this on a fighting rifle, because then you've got this big phone on the top disrupting your field of view. If you do need to use your iron sights, this thing is right in your way. I don't know. It's kind of cool. I should dig into this more and try to get some more information and determine whether it's worth even buying one just to try it. So let's move on. That's enough of that. Again, kitschy.
Kitschy.
Yeah, kitschy.
It's like a segue into gadgets from guns.
All right, so electronic cigarettes. Harvard, a little bit late to the game, I have to say, released a study this week on popcorn lung. So popcorn lung is a lung disease that's they believe it's linked to diacetyl, although I don't believe there's ever been a firm link created. 8 people developed this condition. They all worked in a popcorn factory.
That's why it's linked and not a causal relationship.
Right. There's a link. But yeah, you're right. There's no actual proof of
right. They haven't done like a double-blind study.
Yeah, it's the closest thing they could find to causing popcorn lung. It's linked to diacetyl. Diacetyl is a chemical that adds a creamy or buttery flavor to foods, and it's been used in electronic cigarettes. 8 people who worked in a microwave popcorn factory developed this condition, and that's what they linked it to, was the diacetyl. So it has been used in electronic cigarettes now since the beginning, really. And we've into the industry, and vape. I consider myself a vaping advocate. We've known about diacetyl for a number of years. It really came to a head about 3 years ago when Dr. Konstantinos Farsalinas in Greece said, because vapors were concerned about diacetyl, so he said, I'll start testing liquids. And he did. He tested liquids, and he found that 75% of the liquids he tested contained diacetyl, and it contained them at levels much lower than tobacco cigarettes, because believe it or not, even tobacco cigarettes have diacetyl in them, and the levels you get from smoking are hundreds of times higher than the levels you get from vaping. So he outed a bunch of companies, and those companies said, we will no longer use diacetyl because it's an avoidable risk. You don't have to use it to get this creamy flavor to your liquids. And if a risk is avoidable, we should avoid it as an industry, effectively to show regulators that we're serious about policing ourselves and, self-regulating. So most vendors removed diacetyl from their liquids. A number of vendors went to another chemical called acetopropanol, which again is a food additive that adds a creamier, buttery flavor. And Dr. Farsalinos also warned against that, even though the levels were at low, they were very low levels that were found. He warned against it, again, as an avoidable risk, and that there are other ways to get this creamy or buttery or milky flavor in your liquids without using these chemicals, which have been linked to popcorn lung. So most big name, what I call legitimate vendors, now have found other ways to create these flavors now without using any of these chemicals. And as an example of how serious we are as an industry, I listened to a guy called, his name's Russ. He was a vaping advocate. He runs a show called ClickBang. Talks about all kinds of things, by the way, but one of the things is his electronic cigarette advocacy. Well, about 2 or 3 years ago, he started running his own. He started having liquids lab tested out on his dime. He had used the money out of his pocket, was getting them tested, and was publishing results. And there was one company called Suicide Bunny who had massive levels of diacetyl in their liquid. It was called Mother's Milk. And so I know it's awful, right? There's one called Booby Juice. Believe it or not, there's some idiot reviewer on YouTube called Rip Fucking Trippers. I'm going to cuss a little bit here because he is a cunt. I'm not sorry. He is a cunt. He has his own line of liquids, and one of them he calls Booby Juice.
That's gross.
I mean, talk about discrediting an entire industry.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, so Mother's Milk had tons of diacetyl in it, even though the company claimed it was diacetyl free. And this company got into a lot of trouble. And I'm assuming Suicide Bunny is still in business, but who knows? Well, it happened again recently with another company called Five Pawns. Five Pawns are out of California. They market themselves as high-end e-liquid, very expensive e-liquid too. They say they use the finest ingredients, and they age their liquids in oak barrels and all this bollocks. It's vapors will buy into anything. Vapors have ooh shiny, just like Scott. I swear they'll buy into anything. So they had customers contact them and asking, do your liquids contain diacetyl or acetopropanol? And they said, no, they don't. And I guess they never published any results, right? Any lab results. So a company in England, can't remember the name of the company, but they're an e-cig vendor. They decided they're going to test every liquid that they sell, publish the results for their customers, and let their customers see what they're buying. One of the lines they stocked was Five Pawns. They ran these tests and found the highest levels of diacetyl ever found in e-liquid. Bear in mind, it's still magnitudes lower than smoking, right? And I can't find a single documented case of popcorn lung from smoking, by the way. So the chances of ever getting this from vaping are 0 to none, in my opinion. But they were the highest levels ever recorded in e-liquids. After this company had said, oh no, we have none in our liquids. Well, they knew they did, because diacetyl is not natural, it's added. It has to be added to get those kind of levels. So they knew they were adding it, and they just flat out lied. So what they should have done was said, you know what? We do have diacetyl. We're going to remove it immediately. We're sorry. But no, they doubled down. And they said, oh, no, these are
No,
lies.
we never did that.
Yeah, these are lies. So they tested their own liquids and they published the results. And the results were exactly the same. Same high levels of diacetyl and acetopropanol. And again, people were expecting them to say, yeah, we lied. We're going to redo our liquids. But no, they doubled down again. And they're like, no, these are our liquids. This is what we're selling. These are the best liquids on the planet. And the risks are minimal, they're minimal, but they're avoidable. But these people just flat out lied. So anyway, Russ got in touch with a law firm in New York, in New York City, and apparently a very big law firm. Let me find out who it is. And this law firm did not want to have anything to do with this because there wasn't enough money in it for them, right? They're a massive company, and they do multi-million-dollar class action suits, and there just wasn't the money in this. However, one of their associates, I believe, is a vapor, and she was pretty disgusted by the way 5 Pawns had been lying, and she looked at all the evidence, and she said, it's Wolf, Haldenstein, Adler, Freeman, and Hertz, LLP. That's a mouthful of lawyers right there.
That so is.
Yeah. So she said, well, I'll take it. I'll do it. And obviously they're not going to make any money off of it. So the first thing they did was went to 5 Pawns, and I guess they offered them a settlement. And nobody knows what the dollar value is, but Russ does. And Russ said they should have taken the deal. And they said, no, go ahead.
Scroll down a little bit further and look at that address.
270 Madison Avenue. That's who 5 Pawns are now fighting.
Look at the return address.
Yeah,
and take the deal.
Yeah, they could have settled. Russ said it would have been the best deal for them. They would have been able to stay in business and keep going, but correct their ways. Now, they're not being sued for having diacetyl. They're being sued for lying about it.
Right.
Okay. It's deceptive marketing practices is what they're being sued for, because there's no law against having diacetyl in your liquids, but you certainly can't lie about it and get away with it. So yeah, they now have what apparently is a very, very big law firm climbing all over them. Will probably end up putting them out of business. And what have 5 Pawns done? They've doubled down. And they're going to fight it. They were going to fight this, and we're going to win, they say. I don't think they're not going to win. They lied. It's right. The evidence is everywhere. They sent out emails to people saying we don't have this in our liquids. It was on their freaking websites. You know, they're advertising the finest liquids and the safest ingredients and shit like that. They're screwed. The reason I bring it up though is, you know, Harvard released this study. They're at least 3 years late to the game, but the hysteria over electronic cigarettes is just growing and growing and growing in leaps and bounds. The public health industry in this country is destroying electronic cigarettes. You walk down the street now and you'll have people telling you, oh, that's worse for you than smoking, because this is what the public health people are telling them. We've got these are my words. And my opinions do not express the views of Just for Fun Radio. Harvard, in my opinion, were once a credible university, and then they start putting out this kind of junk science. They don't provide any comparative data whatsoever. They don't compare the risks to smoking or even buttered popcorn, for that matter, which contains much higher levels of diacetyl than e-liquid. They don't even compare the levels to that because they know the levels are so small that people would just laugh at them. Well, that's what's happened now. Their study has now already been discredited. Even Public Health England said it's a joke. It's junk science is what it is. But of course, they get grant money for it, and they do whatever they want. I think they made themselves look like complete idiots.
Only if you read the articles, though. Only if you, and people aren't.
Exactly.
Many
all people here All people hear is a story on the news or the radio that says e-cigarettes linked to lung disease.
Yeah, popcorn lung. Which
Yep.
what?
Well, they're not even saying popcorn lung. They're just saying the reports are lung disease.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what happens. This is how they get us. This is how they get us banned. They create a public perception that electronic cigarettes are going to kill you. They're going to kill you quicker than smoking.
Yeah.
And they need to be taken off the market. And that's if the exploding batteries don't get you. Segway. Hoverboards. We don't have time to talk about this before the break. We'll get to it afterwards. But I'm hoping this takes a bit of pressure off of electronic cigarettes. Exploding hoverboards. These are like the number one, I think, gift for Christmas. People are clamoring to get them. And I'm going to make the comparison to e-cigs when we get back, because the same rules apply. The same rules apply buying one of those as buying an electronic cigarette. And I'll tell you what those are after we get back. Go ahead.
Are we gone?
Yeah.
I just saw something today that I want to see if it's legit about having to register drones.
Yeah, that
is that for real?
I think beginning next week. Yeah, I think it's anything over a certain
but it's small.
Or
it's
weight.
Like, I thought what I saw was like, well, let me look.
That was a damn good segue. I'm getting good at those.
That was good. If we hadn't yelled segue,
yeah,
it would have been
segue. I prefer to point them out.
Yeah. Yeah, half a pound, so 0.55 pounds, more than 0.55 pounds, and less than 55 pounds. So that's all of those little, like Kurt just bought the nephews, ones for the nephews. So do those have to be registered with somebody?
What do they weigh?
These little, I mean, they're in between that, I'm sure. They're not over 50 pounds.
I don't know.
Including payloads such as onboard cameras. I mean, is that what they're talking about?
To me, it's a money grab.
Like these toy.
Yeah, they're talking anything over half a pound, I guess, which
and
is
less than 55
which would cover
pounds.
most of the toys. And less than 55 pounds, because that's the government's own drones, and they don't want to register those because then they become a matter of public record.
Yep. All right, we need to talk about this.
And we can't allow our enemies to know how many drones we have or what type or any specifications. So I imagine they wrote that into the law to exempt any military drones. Mike just bought a drone. He bought the DJI Phantom 3. And it's a great piece of kit. They're not cheap. Here, I'll bring it up here real quick. DJI Phantom 3. I don't know if he got the professional or the standard edition, but this thing is a monster. But yeah, this will be subject to registration now, or whatever they call it. So here's what they're going to do. They're going to make you pay to register the drone. They're going to make you pay to buy a license to fly the drone, I imagine. I'm going out on a limb here because, again, it's government over-regulation. I think you're going to have to buy a license. They're going to treat it like ham radio, I imagine. Everyone's going to have to be licensed.
Hang on. This says the registration will include a $5 fee, but the FAA is waiving that for the first 30 days in an effort to encourage participation.
Good. Well, that's good at least.
You can't actually register until December 21st, although you can begin the process now.
But look at this thing. This is the one Mike just bought.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a monster.
Dude. What the hell is he going to do with that?
He, I believe, is film. I'll ask him tomorrow, but I think he's going to use it for filmmaking. A lot of people have started using this. I watch a lot of YouTube. And I subscribe to all kinds of channels. A lot of them are auto car channels.
Okay.
And a lot of these car channels now have started to use drones to get really good shots of these cars
Oh, that
drive
makes
in
total
and
sense.
corner in
Yeah.
and the way they handle. So a lot of people are using them for things like that. I'm not sure what Mike's plan is with this, but it's an expensive piece of kit. So he may have an idea how to make some money, you know, renting out, like leasing out his time
Right. Wow.
as an operator. And with registration, does it say anything about licensing for the operators?
I stopped reading. Hang on.
But look at this thing. It has a articulating gimbal mounted camera,
Oh my god.
high def camera down here, which I think does 4K video on the professional version. Freaking amazing. I'd love one of these, but they're so expensive.
Says, make
And-
no mistake, unmanned aircraft enthusiasts are aviators. And with that title comes a great deal of responsibility, says U.S. Secretary of Transportation Anthony Fox. Registration gives us an opportunity to work with these users to operate their unmanned aircraft safely. What are they going to do with it? I don't know.
I don't know if I don't imagine the kid getting one of these, cracking it open on Christmas morning and whizzing about, you know, you're outside flying over the house. I don't know that they're necessarily aviators.
Right.
Right. So I don't see the need. I don't see any reason whatsoever to register those. I just don't see the point other than government overreach.
This registration only covers civilian pilots and hobbyists, not people who want to use a drone for commercial purposes. But I assume commercial pilots or whatever, there's a different license they already would have had to, you know what I mean? Like, I assume that's covered under something else.
It's a good question. Again,
they're not doing it for free.
Yeah.
Like, they're getting more than $5.
Mike would know. I'm going to see if he's listening.
The FAA did note in this press release, however, that it is developing enhancements that will allow such online registration. Oh, that's just about registering online. Oh, for commercial operators.
I don't know if he's listening or not. Probably not. He doesn't listen to this show. He was listening last week and giving me shit.
Was he really?
Yeah, throughout most of it. But as he's not giving me any shit tonight, I'm going to assume he's not listening. Now, Mike actually is an aviator. He was a helicopter pilot in the Army. He's busy.
Whatever.
Yeah. Fuck you, Mike.
What's more important than us? Jerk face.
Mike's just, he's probably eating a peanut butter and Jarrah sandwich because my show is better than his.
Probably. He's just jelly.
He is very jelly.
So are you guys going to be on the YouTube tomorrow night or just?
Should be. We weren't last week because of the issues they were having with YouTube. I diagnosed it as a cable problem. Turns out cable
It
problem.
was a cable problem.
This is why I have a tech show.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a cable problem. So YouTube is working now. We tried the YouTube last week for maybe 10 minutes and it just kept stopping. The video was freezing. It was jumping to the splash screen. So we just turned it off and didn't bother even uploading the 10 minutes we had.
Gotcha.
It was a disaster.
That's why I looked for you and couldn't find you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You could have. Did you listen on the app?
No.
Okay.
Well,
We're
you
on
weren't on the YouTube. So
we're
it's
on
like,
TuneIn Radio now as well. I don't know if you've ever used TuneIn Radio.
I have not, because I always watch you on the YouTube.
Gotcha. Oh, let's remember to give out a number.
Oh yeah. Why is no one
that's us.
calling? Oh.
Shit. All right, we're back. So exploding batteries, hoverboards. I don't know why they call them hoverboards because they have wheels.
Right.
There's nothing about them that's hovery.
They do not hover
whatsoever. But apparently they've been exploding. The batteries have been exploding. And this has also been a problem with some electronic cigarettes. There have been devices exploding. Now, in a lot of cases with e-cigs, it's these sub-ohmers building very low resistance coils and running them on unprotected mechanical mods and basically drawing way too many amps off of a battery, and the battery vents and the whole thing goes up like a pipe bomb. With these hoverboards, I'm going to throw out a little speculation here. I don't know for sure. The more work you make a battery do, the more drain you're putting on that battery. I'm going to hazard a guess that most of these hoverboards that have exploded are owned by fatties. Just throwing it out there. So here's what I think is happening. They're putting too much strain. They're putting too much strain on the entire device. The motor is pulling more power than the battery is rated for, even at its pulse rating. It's drawing too many amps from the battery that, for all I know, they're not even high drain batteries, and the batteries are venting and the whole thing's blowing up and exploding, is what I think. Now, with electronic cigarettes, some regulated devices have had catastrophic failures. Generally, they are off-brand foreign devices, Chinese. They are Chinese. Off-brand Chinese-made devices that people buy cheap from somewhere like Alibaba or somewhere like that. And I will wager that the majority of the hoverboards that are exploding are off-brand, cheaper hoverboards that are using no-name batteries. And this is important. Now, remember, batteries are made by mainly 3 separate companies, and they grade their batteries. They grade them A, B, C, D, E, and F. Samsung, for example, keep all of their A's and all of their B's and then sell their C's, D's, E's, and F's to other people who wrap them and brand them with their own brand and sell them on. So they're not the highest quality cells. And I imagine those are the kind of cells that are going into these devices. So before you buy one of these hoverboards for your precious little munchkin to blow himself up on Christmas Day, find out what kind of batteries are going into them, who made the batteries, what their rating is, what their amp draw is, and do a little bit of research and make sure it's not going to become a fireball.
Jay Whitaker of Carnegie Mellon University says pretty much the exact same thing you just did. Cheap crap batteries from China.
So I'm in good company.
Yep. I think he heard you say it.
He may have.
And then quick posted it in this published article.
Yeah, it's possible. But here's the thing. Those batteries, those lower grade batteries, they're not necessarily cheap crap batteries. they're just not rated. They're not a high enough quality for that application.
Well, and it's the rechargeable ones too, like the ones in cell phones that get really
and
hot.
any LiPo can explode.
Right.
Or actually any battery can vent and explode. And LiPos are generally better for high drain applications because they have those really high pulse rates.
Right.
But a pulse rate is merely that. It's a pulse rate. It's not a constant draw. And if you're putting enough drain on this device that it's constantly operating at that pulse rate, there are going to be problems. Things are going to happen. So,
and you put a big fatty on it after Christmas dinner, kaboom.
Right. So while these batteries may be fine in an RC car, for example,
right.
these lower grade batteries may run great in an RC car. They just may not be up to the task of running one of these hoverboards with some chubby kid flopping around on top of it. Who knows? Probably not. It's probably like Mobile Mike.
Adults, yeah.
Or Military Mike, I should say. Mobile Mike. That's a guy I follow on Twitter. He's not fat. He's buff as hell.
Just keep calling Military Mike random names, and at some point he's going to get pissed enough to call in and tell you off.
And then he can answer the drone questions I have. Yeah.
Let's just see if we can get him mad enough to call in.
That's right. But yeah, I imagine it's so all right, here I'll paint you a picture. And everyone knows this is true. You're a 40-year-old man. You have a 12, 13-year-old son. He wants a hoverboard. You buy a hoverboard. What's the first thing you're going to do?
Get on that hoverboard.
You're going to get on that damn thing and test it.
Yep.
Of course you are. You're going to wait till the kid goes to bed. You're going to jump on the hoverboard.
Christmas Eve, before it goes under the tree, you're on that hoverboard.
Absolutely you are.
Yep.
And I'll bet you that's what's happening. I'll bet you here, it may not even be fat people. I take that back. Fat people. Sorry. I'll bet you they're rated for kids and dads are riding these things. I'll bet you that's what it is. And they're putting so much drain on these batteries that they're just exploding. I'll bet you. That would be, that's funny.
That is funny.
Yeah. All right. Anyway. Exploding batteries. So I just hope it takes some of the attention off of exploding electronic cigarettes for a while. That would be nice.
I don't think it's going to happen.
There's always an upside, right? Few kids explode. They're not coming after my E6.
I mean, you can have more kids.
That's right. I mean,
just saying.
It's true, right?
Breeders are out there breeding every freaking day.
Yeah, they are.
Where's Keith?
I don't know.
Why am I having to make these off-color comments?
Yeah, I don't know. He must have had hockey.
Maybe there's hockey.
He must have. So, speaking of batteries, I mentioned this last week. Apple, they released it the day of last week's show. They released their battery case, their external battery case for their iPhones, and this thing is a god awful looking.
It's not cute.
It's a monstrosity. It's like a wart on, Cindy Crawford.
Yes.
And she had that thing on her face, and it kind of detracted from the overall package.
It was a beauty mark.
Call it what you want. It's like that, except not beautiful. It's a monstrosity. And this is the first time I think I've ever seen Apple get bad reviews for their industrial design. Normally they get great, kudos for your design work. Johnny Ive does a great job with design. I don't think Johnny Ive designed this. I think the intern designed this. And I've looked into this, and it has some nice features. For example, the case has antennas built into it, so that when you put the case on, it doesn't degrade your signal like most cases do. The phone knows when it's plugged into a case rather than an actual charger. So when it's plugged into the case, it doesn't turn on any of the background tasks that the phone normally does when it's plugged into the wall. So it has some smarts to it, a few smart features.
When you're that ugly, you have to be smart.
You have to be clever, right?
Yeah.
You got to be. The problem is they are getting creamed over the design. It got so bad that Tim Cook, in a television interview, literally asked people to stop criticizing the design.
What?
Yeah. The little queer goes on TV.
Don't say. Hey, no.
So he goes on TV.
You could call him an Auburn grad. That's bad enough.
But he was acting like a big old fairy.
No, that's not because he's gay. That's because he's a jackwagon. It has nothing to do with his eating habits.
All right. So that's funny. So he goes on TV and he's like, would y'all please stop criticizing our design?
See, that comes from him being an Auburn grad. They're just crying and tucking their tails.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. I'm good now. I'm good
that's
now.
fine. I don't know where's Auburn? Alabama?
It's in Alabama.
Okay.
Just barely.
Okay. Well, they have enough problems. They're up against Alabama.
Right.
Okay. Just got a message from Jenny. She's messed up the coil on her electronic cigarette and wants me to go fix it. So I suppose I should do that before she blows up a battery, because again, that's a risk as well. If your coil's dodgy, your battery and explode. Now with her device, it won't happen. It's protected. It recognizes short circuits and things like that.
Okay,
so
good.
She's good for tonight. So yeah, Apple's smartphone case getting beaten up for being the most god-awful looking thing you've seen in your life, which is quite funny.
Apple's not being awesome here lately.
They're not. They really aren't. And I was listening to a podcast today, and they had designers and filmmakers and people like that used to use Macs all the time, right? And they still do, but in far fewer numbers, because Apple, with the growth of iOS, have kind of neglected their computer line, but especially their professional line of computers. And pro users are, I think, getting a little bit sick of it. In fact, so much so that this guy who's been a lifelong Apple user for his professional work has said if he's in a position next year where he has to buy a new computer, he's probably switching to the PC.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a shame, because that's a huge market for Apple. It's not a huge market by volume, but it's a huge market by dollars, dollar amount. These people spend a lot of money. They're speccing out their machines, $40,000, $50,000 to do what they do. And I think,
and they were devoted. I mean, they were Apple geeks.
Yeah.
So
exactly. And now you've got these hardcore professionals looking to switch to the PC. He said there's nothing I can do on a PC now that I can't do on my Mac with all the Adobe suite of professional apps. He said there are some things like the small utilities and the ease of use things that they do on the Mac. He said I'll miss things like that, but some of those productivity,
figure that out.
They will, and there's always a utility you can get to replicate those features. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a sign of the times for Apple. I'm not sure. They still focus on their consumer computer line, and of course, the majority of their focus is on iOS. I just think it would hurt them if they lose that professional market. I think that's I don't know. It's kind of a badge of honor to be able to say that 99% of the blockbuster movies in the last 20 years have been made on a Mac. They've been edited in Final Cut on a Mac. It's kind of a badge of honor, but it's going to go away slowly. Still, Apple, I should say, released a list of their top music and applications for 2015. I'm just going to run through these quick. One of them is an app we love at Just From Radio, Periscope. Number one in the list of iPhone apps, Periscope.
Wow.
Yeah, it's owned by Twitter. Have you ever used it?
I have used it.
Okay. It's live streaming effectively. It's owned by Twitter. That gets number one. Number two is Workflow, which I've actually talked about on the show. It's a macro. It runs tasks for you. You can chain tasks together as a macro, and it runs them for you. It's very cool. I like it. Lara Croft Go was named. Periscope was App of the Year. Workflow was the most innovative App of the Year. Lara Croft Go was Game of the Year. Heads Up was the top paid app. I've no idea what Heads Up is. It must be a game. Has to be.
Shall I ask my friends at Google?
Yeah. Trivia Crack was the top free application of the year, which is good. It's a pretty decent game. It's head-to-head trivia with, over the ether.
Interwebs.
Yeah, over the ether.
Oh, okay.
I use what did I play? I haven't played it for a long time. It wasn't Trivia Crack. It was
Oh yeah, it appears Heads Up is a game maybe where your phone like says the name of something and you hold it up to your head and the other person has to describe to you what it is and you have to guess it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So that's like,
I think that's what it looks like.
Okay. That's like Mad Libs. Is that what that's called? I don't know. I used Quiz Up, which came out long before Trivia Crack. Does the same thing. It's trivia. It's online trivia. You challenge people. The last time I played Quiz Up, I was ranked #1 in Georgia in the general knowledge category. In fact, I'm going to open it up and see where I'm ranked today.
Do it.
Now, I haven't played, bear in mind, I haven't played in a long time, so I may have dropped down a little bit, but let's see. I am ranked. I don't know. I'll find it. I'm gonna because now I'm curious. Anyway, so for the iPad apps, app of the year was the Robot Factory by Tiny Bop. I have absolutely no idea what that is. I'm still ranked. I am still ranked. Wait, let me double check this.
Robot Factory appears to be a kids app where one makes robots.
No, I'm never going to play that.
Yeah, build a robot.
Still ranked #1 in general knowledge. Ha. Somebody called me dumb on the radio this morning.
Were you acting dumb?
No, I wasn't. I was actually using facts to. All right, so okay. We're talking about Scott again. This might get me kicked out, by the way. So I'm not going to go into it, but basically, I was using facts to argue it, to debate a point, and facts weren't enough. They just weren't. Don't ask me why. And it got to the point where Scott actually hung up on me. Yeah, he hung up on me today. It was
wow.
Funny. It was funny. It really was. But yeah, Scott. I don't know. It's funny debating something with Scott. Here's how it goes. I'm louder than you, therefore I win.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll never win that.
And
I'm never going to win that fight.
And I have the disconnect button.
You're honestly, you're right. He had the hang up button right here. So Robot Factory. The most innovative was Liquid Text PDF and Document Reader. Sounds a bit workish to me. Doesn't sound fun at all.
Back to your whole argument this morning. That's like being the opposing view in like a newspaper article or on a TV news segment or whatever. If you're the other view, you're always going to look like an idiot because of editing. You know what I mean? Like the other person has the power.
Basically like the liberal on Fox News.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was effectively the liberal on Fox News. And it was. The position I was taking, while a very conservative position, you would have to understand classical conservatism to recognize it as a conservative position. So that's all it was.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was funny. And I think people actually like it. They like a bit of drama. They really do. But somebody called me dumb. I was like, call into my show. We'll see who's dumb. Of course, they haven't called in, unless that's who that was earlier that called in and then hung up.
You got hung up on twice today.
Could be.
Huh.
Could be. So anyway, that was boring as hell. Top Mac apps or top iOS apps for 2015.
Yeah.
They also, though, named the music, I think music and movies, the top iTunes. So top best artist of the year. Have a guess.
Adele.
Nope, Drake. Yeah. I like Drake. I think I like Drake when he's not trying to sing. I like Drake when he's just rapping, but when he tries to sing,
right.
he's terrible. Tone deaf. Drake, you are tone deaf, brother. Don't sing ever again. And I'll send him an email with a link to the YouTube video and a timestamp so he can hear that. Fuck you, Drake.
Hey.
Best album was To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. Never heard it. Don't know who that is. Sounds a bit like a country singer. Don't know. Look up Kendrick Lamar. Let's see what that is.
Okay.
The best song was I Can't Feel My Face by The Weeknd. I think I know that.
Is that really oh my Lord.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's a relatively recent song, I believe. Best new artist was Bryson Tiller. That's got to be a country guy. Best selling album was 25 by Adele, which is weird because it just got released.
Kendrick Lamar is an American hip hop recording artist.
Very cool.
Straight out of Compton.
Straight out of Compton,
California.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, 25. So 25. Oh, I Can't Feel My Face. The Weeknd. Can't Feel My Face. Bryson Tiller, best new artist. Yeah, so best selling album 25 by Adele, which released last week, was it? Or maybe was it 2 weeks ago?
Couple weeks ago, yeah.
Couple of weeks ago, and it's already the #1 selling album of the year. And the best selling song, now I would have guessed this, to be honest with you, it was Uptown Funk, Mark Robson, featuring the little dude. No? All right, never mind. I'm going to find this I Can't Feel My Face and see what this sounds like. There it is.
Oh my, that's what it looks like.
Because I'm sure I've heard this before. Oh, good Lord.
Look at that.
Damn. That guy's balling. I'll listen to that later.
Yeah. Well, listen, we can listen to it during a commercial or when we go to a break.
I don't know.
We're not at a break.
Okay, no. In fact, I was making sure we were on air, which we shouldn't be because this segment is awful.
We're bad.
Yeah.
Talk about, hey, the
But no, Uptown Funk, you know.
I like Uptown Funk.
Uptown Funk you up. Yeah, Bruno Mars. He, by the way,
Bruno Mars.
He wasn't locked out of heaven. The short little git just couldn't reach the door handle. Because he's a tiny little okay. Anyway.
So
as Steven would say, fuck you for that joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, best movies. Sorry, I got to finish this list up now.
Can we just shoot this and be done with it?
Awful.
Dude, it's horrible.
We should, shouldn't we?
No, stop that. Let's talk about Apple TV. Don't you have something about
a little bit? So
it's got to be better than this thing.
Oh God, I know, right?
This is horrible. I mean, we're boring me, and I'm here. I'm involved in the conversation.
I know that was a disaster.
Yeah. So let's just move on.
Oh God, this is what happens when I don't prepare for a show.
Let's let this die.
So Apple, I've been holding off on, even though the new Apple TV looks really good, has a lot of great features. It was limited to that little touch remote thing that ships with it, which is, in my opinion, an absolute interface disaster. It's
Apple TV. I'm sorry, I was thinking Roku.
It's a little trackpad thing, like you have on your laptop. Yeah, it's terrible. And for text input, it brought up a on-screen keyboard kind of thing, but instead of being laid out like a keyboard, it was just a whole line of letters, and the line of letters didn't even fit on the screen. It overlapped, so you would scroll to the end, and then it would run to the end of the line. Then it wouldn't round robin. So if you had to go from Z to A, you had to go all the way down and then all the way back.
Painful.
Instead of just round rob going from Z and jumping all the way back. Painful, absolutely painful, and another disaster from Apple. That is an interface disaster. Anyway, I said I'm not going to bother with one of these things until they update the remote app for the iPhone, so that when I enter text, I can just use my iPhone keyboard. they released this Apple TV a couple of months ago now, I think. Finally, last week, they updated the remote app and the software on the Apple TV itself. So I can now, my excuse for not buying one has been removed, and I may have to buy one. One thing they have said, so this remote that, oh, no, wait. Oh, wow, we literally jumped right through a break.
How? What?
Yeah, oh yeah, skipped right through it. There have been songs playing and everything, but they hear us. We're talking. Apparently, that best of iTunes went on for a bit too damn long. So now we're just going to keep going. I'll jump to a break in a minute. What was I saying? So
Best of iTunes, which was like worst of the show.
it was the worst of the show. It's terrible. Yeah. God, I'm so sorry for that. I am dumb.
Yeah, dude, fuck you for that second.
I know. Thank you very much. Anyway, so they've removed my reason for not buying it. However, the remote that ships with the Apple TV, the little touchpad thing, even though it's a complete disaster for text input, it has some really good features. For example, it has Siri built into the remote control, which it's kind of cool, to be honest with you. You press and hold the Siri button and you can tell it to find shows and play things, but it also has little features like if you miss some dialogue, you can press it and hold it and say, "Hey Siri, what did he say?" or "Hey Siri, what did she say?" And it will jump back 30 seconds. It will lower the background noise of the movie while enhancing the voices, bring up subtitles on the screen, and let you replay the last 30 seconds.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
That you missed. That's clever. That's not built into the app on the phone, so which isn't a big deal. I can use the two together. I can use a combination of this for text input
until you lose the little app in the couch.
The little remote control. Yeah. Right. Here's problem number 2 with that little remote control. The trackpad is glass. Yeah. People have been dropping these things and they've been shattering. So there right now is there's a third party industry of protective cases for your Apple TV remote. Is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard?
That is sad.
All right. Now we're going to take a break.
We haven't talked about the Kindle Fire.
There was a song in the middle of playing.
So does anybody hear the music and stuff?
They're hearing music now because
but when we're talking and we miss it.
No, they hear us.
It just stays.
Yeah. I end up skipping commercials and music, and so now I have to drag some commercials back into the list. Oh, that's embarrassing. You know what? I don't care.
No.
That was so bad.
That was a little.
I'm going to play Into the Mystic again just because I can. Want some sweet mama? Take a chance on me because I ain't so bad. I'm going to let James Earl Jones do a commercial.
I think I have The Weeknd, Can't Feel My Face queued up. If you want to mute us on.
You have what?
The Weeknd, Can't Feel My Face.
Oh, let me mute
a video of it. So if you want to mute.
Yeah, I need to mute
YouTube,
so we can hear it. I need to mute everything so YouTube don't censor
that's what
us.
I'm saying. Yep. awful rap or something. Like I was really looking forward to some hardcore,
some terrible rap. No, it's
bad hip hop.
yeah. I knew I know I knew that song.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Huh. I'm disappointed that
Right
it wasn't
through a
bad.
break. This thing needs to beep at me when there's like 2 minutes
Does he
left.
not know we're on the radio?
Who is it, Kurt?
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to come on. Oh, we still need to talk about this Kindle.
That's what I was saying. Hey, I'm on the radio. Yeah, well, I mean, we're on a break. We're on the YouTube right now. What are you doing? Ugh. Well, don't even get me started. Ugh. What's going on? Yeah. They didn't fix your truck? What's wrong with it? Oh. Oh, that's funny. Oh.
I heard the door. I couldn't get my phone to turn on. I was like, yes, they're going after that.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not. That's why I was just going to say, but I heard the
Yeah.
door. I was like, I guess I didn't know if you were calling earlier.
Well.
Oh no, I don't know why you heard the
Yeah,
door, though.
and then
Well,
you
no,
took them
just-
somewhere and
Oh,
didn't leave
this
them there.
door. Gotcha.
So that's why I was like, but now that I think about it,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you got babe. You got to tighten things up there. All right. Are you having the boys over? Are you really not? Yeah. Uh-huh. Do they not know I'm gone yet? What? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's because you never listen. You just got shamed. I just shamed you. Huh? All right, I love you. Bye-bye. He took the dogs for their grooming appointment today.
Yeah.
Their appointment's tomorrow.
Hey, but at least you forgot to pick up your car.
Right?
So there's
like,
that.
Got to tighten things up a little.
That's funny.
Yeah, last night I was like, so did you get my car? He's like, nope, totally forgot. I was like, awesome. Well, I mean, it's only sitting at the airport with the keys in it, unlocked.
Now, what are the odds that he forgets to take the dogs tomorrow?
Well, last year, so
Well, pretzel.
you can fly out of Duluth, which is an international airport, but it's small.
Uh-huh.
So you can, I'm going to back up off this microphone. So you can fly Duluth, Minneapolis, and then Minneapolis to, anywhere. But if your Duluth to Minneapolis flight gets jacked up, which is what happened to me, then of course the Minneapolis to Atlanta leg gets dodgy. So he's driving from Duluth to Minneapolis, parking the truck in Minneapolis and flying from Minneapolis to here to just take out that first leg. Which he did the same thing last year. And then we fly back to Minneapolis together and then ride together to Duluth. So last year, let's say he's supposed to fly down on a Wednesday. Well, he calls me on Tuesday, like noon. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Driving? Where are you going? The airport? Why, honey? Your flight's not till tomorrow. Mind you, he's driving to Minneapolis, which is 2.5 hours from the house, not Duluth, which is 10 minutes up the road.
That's funny.
So he's like, what? And I'm good, thank you. He's like, what? Are you kidding? I was like, no, you're coming down tomorrow. Well, He was an hour out of town before he even called me because he woke up late, hadn't packed, had nothing ready. So he's scrambling, figuring I'm going to be pissed that he's getting started late. So he thinks he's going to be smart and not call me till he's on the road. So I don't know that he's running late.
Yeah.
Smart ass.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no,
Tomorrow,
honey,
darling.
you're not leaving until tomorrow. Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, I bet he forgot. It would be so funny if he
just forgets tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
Well, yeah, and I parked my car in the deck, like covered parking, but it wasn't really covered. I parked kind of on the edge because it was close to the door because I figured he would go like in a couple of hours and pick it up. So I wasn't worried that it was sitting out in the rain and the snow. Nope. But I didn't have to scrape it, so whatever.
All right, we got the Kindle, Taylor Swift's movie, not movie, it's her concert tour.
Mm-hmm.
Universities banning watches, and Apple rumored to be making a smaller iPhone. I like that. But they're wondering if it's even worth doing it. Their question is it a good idea?
Smaller, like
Or is it good to give people what they want is the question.
the thinner one without the jack?
You know the iPhone 4 size? They're thinking of, the rumor is they're going to make another phone that size.
So the two current sizes.
With a 4-inch screen instead of 4.7.
The two current sizes.
Plus the new 4-inch.
I mean, I hear people complaining about.
I want a smaller, fatter phone. I want it to be smaller, the size of an iPhone 4S, but thicker than an iPhone 4S with a really big battery. We're coming on in.
Kurt just texted me and said he had to scrape that shit, so I'm guessing he's listening now. He should call and talk games.
He should.
I'm now going to be spitting pretzel in the microphone. That'll be pretty. The YouTubers will like that.
Oh, this guy. Listen to the end of this commercial and tell me who you think this guy sounds like. Hold on. It's coming up.
That sounds like Scotty.
It is. But wait. Doesn't he sound like James Earl Jones?
He totally does.
Yeah. And his name is James.
Oh my God, that's funny.
All right, this is us. All right, we're back.
Hello.
And sorry about go to a break halfway through a song because I've already missed the break. So y'all only got half of David Lee Roth there. Diamond David Lee Roth. So yeah, James, the American Family Insurance. I swear to God, sounds just like James Earl Jones.
It did.
And his name is James. It's brilliant. Anyway, what were we going to talk about? Oh, let's talk about smart watches or watches in general, actually. So universities, or actually a university right now, although I imagine this is going to spread to all universities, are banning watches. All watches of any kind from exams because it's too difficult to distinguish between a regular watch and a smartwatch in some cases, and so they're just issuing this is the university right now is Kyoto University, which is in Japan, I guess. I'm assuming
Let's go with that,
I'm
yeah.
assuming it's the same Kyoto. They say it's too much time and too difficult to distinguish standard watch from a smartwatch, which I understand. Some of them look like, high-end or like mechanical watches. So they're just saying you can no longer wear a watch into an exam. And I imagine this is going to happen at every university. And I imagine it will be all watches. So I think that's fine. I don't really have a problem with it. because who wants to spend the time checking everybody's wrist to make sure it's
Right.
not a smartwatch? So I just thought that was, I hadn't thought about that, happening in the future. And I saw that story and I thought, you know what, that actually kind of makes a bit of sense. There is a rumor making the rounds that Apple are going to release a smaller phone. And what I mean by that is a phone with a 4-inch screen, the way the iPhone 4 had a 4-inch screen. The Washington Post is asking a question: is it a good idea to give people what they want? Right now, when the iPhone 5 came out, I didn't like it because of the dimensions. Because they took the iPhone 4 and proportionally they just made it longer. They didn't make it any wider. So you ended up with a taller screen on a narrow phone. And I think it looked ridiculous, to be honest. I did not get an iPhone 5. Then they moved to the iPhone 6 where they scaled it proportionally in both axes, right? And so you ended up with this 4.7-inch phone, which I do like, but I still say is too big for me personally. And I've always said I wish they just would have released a better iPhone 4, so to speak, a 4-inch phone. But I want it to be Apple. In fact, most phone manufacturers these days are in this thinner is better mindset. And while that's true in some cases, I don't think it goes for phones. I want my phone to have a super long battery life, and that basically requires it to be thicker so they can cram more battery in there. And I wish that's what Apple would do. And I hope, if this rumor's true, that it's going to be the dimensions of an iPhone 4, but thicker with a much bigger battery that will go for days. Because I read a story yesterday of a company. I didn't save it, which is a shame, because it was a company I'd never heard of before. They are releasing a phone next week that they say will last for 15 days on battery.
What?
Yeah, 15 days. And they're doing it through a combination of large battery. First of all, I believe it said it had a 10,000 milliamp hour battery in the device, but they're also using older components that are more battery efficient. So older screens and graphics processors and
So is it
CPUs and things like that.
going to do all the geeky things that we want our phones to do?
It's going to do. It'll
Without
be an
lag?
Android. It'll be an Android phone. Now, it won't be as fast as your phone, obviously, because it's not going to have the latest 8-core freaking ARM processor or anything like that. It's going to have an older processor.
You're hating. Quit hating.
No, I think it's fine. If you ever use your 8 cores, I imagine you're quite happy with it. But my phone only has 4 cores.
I know.
So I have core envy.
Bless his
obviously.
heart.
Yeah, bless his little 4-core heart. So they're going to use older components, obviously, but they're claiming a 15-day battery life. And I don't care if it's only 5 days. That's a whole lot better than I get.
So would you go back in technology to get longer battery life?
I personally would, because I don't do anything on here that requires the speed it's capable of. Now, my iPad, that's a different story.
You don't like to just have it?
No, I honestly
Really?
don't. In fact, my phone 90% of the time is in low power mode, which actually slows down the processor and disables a lot of background tasks
Right.
and things like that, because I don't miss them. I don't miss the speed. I don't need this stuff running in the background, but it makes my battery last almost twice as long. And that's what I want. I want long battery life. So I would gladly take a step back in specs, because I'm not spec driven.
Right.
I'm not like one of these, nerds on the forums that, oh, well, it only has 7.5 cores and it's not utilizing the last 50% of that 8th core, right? With fucking Darth Vader glasses on and whatever the hell it is. I'm not driven that way. I want something that's functional.
Right.
that lasts a long time. The iPhone 4S did that for me. The battery life, I think, was outstanding. Should have been longer. Again, the phone could have been thicker, could have had a bigger battery, or they could have built a humpbacked whale case for it. Who knows? You know, but Steve Jobs was alive back then, and that thing never would have come out of Apple if Steve Jobs were alive.
Right.
So
do you not plug your phone in when you're in the car or
Sure.
at your desk?
I do.
Okay.
Mhm.
So your phone doesn't really die. You just.
It's never died on me, but the iPhone 6 has such abysmal battery
Does
life
it really?
that it gets low very quickly. Oh yeah, the battery. Why do you think they released an ugly battery case? It's
Valid.
because people are having issues with the battery. I've had the battery replaced in this once because it was depleting so fast. It's a year old, and I had to go to Apple and have them replace the battery.
So
And
if you unplugged it in the morning when you got up,
yes,
at what point in the day would it die?
if I were to leave it on full power mode and use it the way I use it, it would probably die around 2 p.m. So that's from between 4 and 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. So 10 hours. I mean, that's not even half a day. It's ridiculous. A phone should last the whole day, at least. It should last 3 or 4 days. And it annoys me that they don't. And it could, or if they doubled the thickness of this.
Right.
Because remember, not all of this is taken up by battery. So if they doubled the thickness, they would come close to quadrupling the battery size, because they would have that much more volume that could just fill up with battery and no other components. They could, I think this is maybe an 1800 milliamp hour battery. Guarantee you they could easily squeeze a 4000 milliamp hour battery into this, and it would last the full day for anybody. But for some reason, they're in this thinner is better mindset, and I just don't understand it. To me, thinner is, it's difficult for me. When I hold it without a case on, it feels flimsy. It feels weak. It feels delicate, so to speak. And I put a case on it primarily just so it feels better. Secondarily is for protection, because they're tough phones.
Isn't it slick too? Is that the one?
It's metal, yeah. It's slick. It's
Yeah,
as slick as any phone.
Kurt slapped a piece of duct tape on the back of his, because I think it's that one
To
that
give
he
it some
has.
grip.
Yeah, because it's so slick.
Well, now he can get that battery case with the hump on the back. That'll give him a good grip. So
I can't get him to have any
Yeah,
case on his phone, let alone the humpback battery case.
in the past, I've used battery cases for these phones. I would never use something that looked like the Apple case. And, call me superficial or whatever, but looks do matter. They really do. And if your phone looks like it's got a fucking conjoined twin coming out of the back of it, I'm sorry, I don't want it.
That was harsh, dude.
I'm sorry. Well, it's hideous. So I've used battery cases, and I like them, but they never offered the protection that I wanted from a case. So I would like a super thick phone with a massive battery that I can use my own case on and have gobs and gobs of battery life and not have to worry about it. And then if I turn on low power mode, I could go forever. Not forever, but I could go for
Almost
a while.
forever.
I could go
like
for
the day before forever.
Yeah, I could go for a while and wouldn't have to sit here complaining about it.
Right.
So yeah, if they make a smaller phone, I really hope they get out of this thinner mindset, and I hope they make the brick I really want and make it, if it was square, like not square, but if it was like a perfect rectangle with sharp corners and half an inch thick, I'd be happy. I'd be so happy.
Short and fat like you like your women.
There you go.
Little boxy thing.
There you go.
Little pointy edges.
Just like that. Well, maybe not the pointy edges, but so all right, we're running out of time. Let's throw this in here real quick. Taylor Swift, she released what was it? She did.
Kurt says he rolled with duct tape for a year on his phone.
Did he really? Just to give it the grip? Yeah, it's crazy. He could put a case on the phone.
You know.
Okay.
Baby steps.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I think he had
people
on a phone before.
people make all kind of stuff. They make duct tape wallets, duct tape.
There was a duct tape
satchels.
prom dress. Did you see that one?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Wonder how she took that off at the end of the night.
Just cut it up the back.
Mm.
I'm sure the boy brought the knife.
I was going to say that would have made the walk of shame the next day a little bit awkward.
Slid it open. Well, as long as you got the duct tape.
Yeah, that's right. You can tape it back on. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's
so
cool.
Taylor Swift, when Apple Music started, she caused a lot of fuss because she wasn't going to put her music on Apple Music or any streaming services for that matter, because Apple Music, when it launched, was free to everybody for the first 3 months. However, Apple were not going to pay artists royalties for those 3 months. And so Taylor Swift penned an open letter to Apple and Tim Cook, and it was titled "Dear Apple, It's Me, Taylor," or some junk like this. And she made some valid points about artists being paid for their medium, and they make less money off of streaming as it is than they do off of album sales and things like that. But she effectively said, "I'm not going to put any of my work on your catalog unless you pay everybody for the 3 months free." All right, fair enough. That's cool. So now, I don't know what all this is about, but she has agreed to make her 1989 World Tour film, which I'm assuming is just a film of her traveling the world, doing concerts and shows and meeting fans and stuff, because she does a lot of that face to face with fans and whatnot. She's agreed to make it an Apple Music exclusive. So I will assume that anybody with Apple Music will be able to watch it.
Did you say 1989?
That's the name of her album.
I was like, what was she for? But now I get it.
She may have been born in 89, which may explain the name. I don't know.
Right.
But she's agreed to.
Otherwise, that don't make no sense at all.
That's right. So she's agreed to make it an Apple Music exclusive, which I assume means anybody with an Apple Music subscription will be able to watch it as part of their subscription. And I will assume it's the only way you'll be able to watch her movie is over Apple Music. So if you want to watch it, you may have to subscribe. I imagine that will get a lot of kids signing up on their parents' cell phone bills.
Probably, yeah.
Pissing off moms and pops all over the world. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. From going from I will never be on your service to now you have an absolute exclusive that's just going to kind of lure people into your service. Strange turn of events right there. Anyway, I think that's about it, Danielle.
Yeah?
Yep.
Is that all we got?
Yep. Yep, that's about it in this list. There's nothing else worth talking about anyway, unless we want to actually sink lower than the iTunes top 10.
The Kindle Fire I brought.
Oh shit! You know what?
It's
been sat right next to me. So, how much did you pay for this?
While you're talking, I'm gonna look that up because I want to say like $35.
So this is Amazon's Android tablet, sort of. It's Amazon's what is the proprietary version of Android running on a tablet, which isn't a bad thing.
Right.
It's not a bad thing. What that means is it's Android with Amazon's extras added to it and Amazon's app launcher and you basically the interface is all Amazon.
Right.
This is a 7-inch color tablet, Android tablet. It really feels good in the hand. I love the size of this thing. The display I think is really nice, quite adequate. Colors are great. The blacks and whites are as good as any other tablet I've seen. Or at least any other, mid-range type tablet. It runs all of the Android stuff. It links into Amazon's own app store. But Danielle and I were looking at this before the show and checking out to see what kind of apps are available. And really anything I would want is on here. Netflix, Facebook, YouTube, Pandora, HBO Now, even games, Pinterest, Spotify, Instagram, stuff like that. It's all available on here. But how much was it?
I got it on a Black Friday deal for $34.99.
$34.99, $35 for an Android tablet. And it is a good tablet.
Yeah.
I was surprised. The build quality is amazingly good.
Full price is $49.99. I think that's a fantastic. I mean, even at full price, I think it's a great.
Yeah. If you were thinking about consumer electronics for somebody at Christmas, if you were thinking about a tablet, I should say this for $50 is an absolute steal. In addition, though, here's the nice thing about it to me. In addition to being an Android tablet, it's a Kindle book reader. You have access to the entire Kindle library, and it's all organized so well. On the front page, there's this a scrolling tab bar at the top where you can jump straight to books, straight to videos, straight to games, straight to shopping, or go to the Amazon store. And if you go to books, this has loaded Danielle's library, because Danielle obviously uses a Kindle, and it's loaded her stuff onto here. I need to jump this timer back a second. Hold on. So it's loaded Danielle's books on here, but then it has recommendations from Kindle Unlimited, which is their subscription service.
Right.
It has specific recommendations for you, the bestsellers, new in romance. And then it has the genres, the categories, romance and humor, entertainment. So it's your Android tablet, but also your Kindle book reader all in one, which is I do that on my iPad already. It's a tablet, and I load up the Kindle app.
Right.
I just wish I could load this entire interface, because it really is good. And this $50 tablet, I downloaded a game that I run on my iPad. It was Real Racing 3, Electronic Arts. I downloaded it onto here to test it, to see how responsive this tablet was. This $50 tablet the gameplay was as good as on my iPad. I was amazed. I could not get over how well this thing ran for $50, man.
And
it's got $50.
We talked about this a little bit a couple of weeks ago. The feature that reduces the blue light in the screen, in the picture that you're looking at night, because apparently that interferes with
it's the blue light that limits your body's production of melatonin. So because if you looking at a screen at night stops or makes it more difficult for you to fall asleep. So this has a feature called blue shade, and they say it filters out the blue pixels. Now it does give everything a strange sepia,
like sepia kind of.
Yeah, sepia tone.
And we saw that.
So if you're watching videos, it's not ideal, but if you're reading, perfect, and it won't affect your melatonin production. So that's got to be good.
Yeah. Google. We saw that the Google Book app has the same thing, some kind of blue light reduction thing that also turns it sepia. So apparently that's a thing.
Yeah, which runs on your phone and Android tablets, right? Yeah, that has to be a Android feature then, because if it's on all your Android devices and it's on here and this is an Android device, I'll bet you that is a feature of Android. But this, I tell you, $50, man, $50. It's built remarkably well. It looks like, if anybody remembers what the iPhone 3G and 3GS used to look like, it's built similar to that. It has a plastic back. The back edges are rounded off, and the screen, I think it's a great screen for the money. It's has a camera. Just noticed that.
It does have a camera. We had just started playing with it.
Has a camera on the back. Does not appear to have a front. I think it does. I think it even has that, I believe, is a front-facing camera. Really? So you could even do Skype video chats or Google Hangouts with this thing.
Just got better.
For $50. Unreal. Yeah. You can buy them on Amazon, obviously.
Yeah.
But you can also buy these for the $50 price at Best Buy.
Yep.
I've seen them at Best Buy for $50. However, at Best Buy, of course, you're going to pay tax.
I paid tax as well.
Oh, you did?
So, yeah, it was.
So they collect taxes on the
Yep.
Kindles? Okay.
Yeah, I did not pay shipping, of course.
I think this is a great device for any student because obviously good for schoolwork, good for research, but also encourages reading.
Yes.
Anything that, well, you said this
Yep.
earlier. Anything that encourages reading is good.
Yeah.
In both our books.
Yep.
I think this is fantastic. How now there is the one thing I will point out is that this is one of their advertising subsidized Kindles.
While you're talking, let me look and see what that one is without the ads.
Subsidy. Okay.
Yep.
Now, all that means, it doesn't mean you're going to get bombarded with advertisements. What it means is when you first turn on the display, your lock screen is an advertisement. In this case, it's a advertisement for a cover for a case for the Kindle. And as soon as you unlock the device, that all disappears and you no longer get ads. So you might have to deal with a couple of ads. My actual Kindle reader is that way. It's the ad subsidized. And
isn't that where you saw the game that you decided you wanted to play?
I did.
Yeah.
I unlock it. I see the ad and I'm like, I want that game. So, and I've already forgotten what the game was.
Yeah, some kind of, I don't know. You
Well,
said it was
I know
Black
it was a
first person shooter.
Well, it was a Desert Strike back in the day. It was like a clone of Desert Strike, and I'm gonna have to find it. But yeah, for $50, you cannot go wrong with this for Christmas. Pick them up.
I don't see this version without ads, but I wouldn't buy one without ads because the without ads ones are. Oh, is that it? Tend to be more.
Well, they are more expensive.
Yeah.
I purchased one Kindle ad free at one point in time, and it was almost double the price of the ad subsidized Kindle. Since then, my Kindle readers have always been the ad subsidized, and I've never noticed one of the ads ever.
Unless it's something you want.
I noticed it on here only though because I was looking to see what kind of ads they have. Normally, I would just turn this on and swipe straight past it and not even be able to tell you what the ad was.
That one has expandable memory too. Feel around the side. It's got a little like side to stick the little card bit in. Maybe where your big grubby paws
yes,
are.
It does. It's right there.
I don't think my other one has that. Kurt, if you're still listening, I didn't already have one of these.
Yeah, it's got a micro SD slot. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so it's 8 gigs built in, and you could throw in, I assume it supports at least 64 gigabytes.
Yeah, I'm guessing, yeah.
Probably all the way up to 128. So this could be your portable media player for movies and music also, for your kids in the car on trips. When you're driving down the road, they can be plug in some headphones and fire up a Peppa Pig show, for example.
So they've got, I don't get this. They've got a Fire HD6 6-inch that's on sale for $80.
Mm-hmm.
What you have in your hand.
That's high def, though. It's HD.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, this is the...
Right.
Okay, this is the Fire with the non-HD screen. But the screen is perfect.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, $50. I can't... Yeah, camera. Here we go. So, yeah, now the camera response is a bit slow. I will say that. But they can do their selfies. Look at this. They can do their little camera selfies. And they can probably download Periscope and do some live streaming. I bet you they can make some home school project movies, stuff like that.
And
we'll save the home movies for the adults.
At $50, you can throw one of those in the glove box of the car for long trips for kids to watch videos or whatever on.
Yep.
Not have to worry about the grubby paw prints.
Yeah.
You get what we decide it was, $20 for the 2-year protection plan.
2 years of accidental damage and, of course, manufacturing a standard warranty. But including accidental damage, $20 for 2 years of coverage through Square Trade. It's a hell of a deal. Highly recommend this. Here you go, Dan. All right, well, that's it for us. I got to tell you, I'm really pleased you came in.
Yeah, it was
I'm
fun. Thank you for
obviously
having
really
me.
pleased you're in town. I'm really glad you came into the studio. It's been a lot of fun, and it makes doing this easier and more fun, to be honest, because usually we're just on the phone
Yeah.
chatting. Now, if you're in next week, we might do a little preparation. We'll see.
Well, in my own defense, it took me all day yesterday to get here, and I had planned to Google something yesterday and make a note or two, and that just went to shit when.
And you're gonna have to let me know if Kurt takes the dogs for their appointment tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he's listening. I think we got me. He said busted on live radio. Yeah, he didn't know. I told him that I had bought the Kindle for my mom. I didn't mention that I had
that you got one for yourself. It's $50.
Yeah.
Well,
and
for you it was 35.
35.
Yeah, and you can add in the warranty and be up to the standard price.
Yeah.
And be protected from Danielisms.
Right. It was almost cheaper to buy it than not to buy it.
I know.
I could almost how was I gonna not do it?
I agree.
It was complete utter silliness.
I agree. Would have been silly not to.
Yeah.
All right. So we got to wrap this up.
All right.
Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for watching. And thank you to anybody that watches the replays. Don't know why people watch 2.5 hours of this on replay, but they do.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Tomorrow is
The World According to Mike.
Twat Mike.
Right.
TWAT. Twat Mike. The World According to. He may want to rethink that name, to be honest with you. Yeah,
Do you
tomorrow.
Remember The World According to.
Yeah, what was his name? Oh God.
TGO.
The great one. TGO.
Yeah.
Oh God.
We need to write that down to talk about next week.
We should talk about that next week
because that's going to take a little while to talk about.
That was hilarious because I hacked the hell out of that kid one time.
We need to make sure Keith is involved in this conversation too.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah,
TGO.
Oh dear God.
Good times.
Yeah.
So yeah, tomorrow, Twat with Mike.
Hopefully you'll be on the YouTubes.
Yeah, we should. We had issues last week. Again, I diagnosed it as a cable. Turns out it was a cable.
Awesome. You replaced said cable.
And YouTube seems to have worked flawlessly this evening. I now probably my last week on Mike's show tomorrow because I think Brian will be up to speed on the equipment, and then those two can take it together. Now, Mike, it'll be the first time Mike will have done an evening show without me on the show. So it's probably going to be shite.
But not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow. I'll be here. I'll be here tomorrow. Yeah, I'll carry him tomorrow again. I don't know why I'm bothering this. He's not even listening.
No.
I'm here trying to insult Mike, and he's not.
All night.
He's not even listening to the show. He's talking with some veteran buddies. Is what he's doing. He's spending time with some friends who are veterans. So bless his heart. I mean, he's doing. Yeah, he's doing something good. So I should cut him a break. So yeah, tomorrow is the World According to Mike, Twat Mike, as I am going to call it that from now on, though. With me, Mike, and Brian. Thursday, I believe Latest Talk is on. I don't know what the holiday schedule is going to be. Thursday is Latest Talk. Saturday, we have an event at the Social House in Covington. It's now it's the Just for Fun Christmas party. In addition to Savannah Webb performing, she's a local singer, songwriter type person. Very good, by the way. She was on the morning show, and she was singing, and I liked it a lot. And I'm a bit picky when it comes to female vocalists.
You?
Yeah, I am. And I said she may as well be British because British, obviously the best female vocalists are British. She was really good. And so I said, I said, can she like do an Adele song? And she was willing to do it. But I looked her up on YouTube, and I saw that she did a cover of Valerie. It was Amy Winehouse, an Amy Winehouse number. And I said, oh God, no, she has to do Valerie. She's got to play this right now. Please. And I was like literally begging. She did the best version of this song I've ever heard. So she's at the Social House. I don't know what you're doing Saturday night, but you're more than welcome to come along. just for fun party and a couple of beers, but it's all the way in Covington and you're the way over there, but we'll get together and we'll
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about
figure it out.
Okay. Also Saturday during the day, I know Scott and I are going somewhere to do something.
That's good planning.
It's got something to do with Toys for Tots and the
Oh.
Navy.
Wow.
So I'm not entirely sure what it is, or an Army Navy. It might be something at an Army Navy store
to do
with Toys for Tots. I kind of caught the tail end of it this morning at the morning show. So we're doing that during the day. I don't know if anyone else is going to be there. So yeah, that's
a pretty full schedule.
I come up with some really good, clever segues, but I can't end a fucking show. I don't know what to do to end a show. I need like some kind of catchphrase outro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have it, but we need to work on it.
Yeah. Like, what is, I think catfish is get some or something like that.
Get some of this.
Yeah. No,
get some of that.
I'm not going to say
is
that.
it some of that?
I'm going to say this, I should just end it with TikTok and click the off button.
TikTok out.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, or I don't know. I'm going to start dropping this damn mic. Boom. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my Kanye outro. No, I'm not Mike, because then Scott would be mad that I drop his mic. So, oh well.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening. Danny, thank you for coming in. I really
pleasure.
Appreciate it. I'll be back next Tuesday. Listen to the morning show tomorrow and try to catch us Saturday at the Social House in Porterdale. Sorry. Starting at, it's close. It was right next door. Starting at 7 p.m. Until next week. Good night, guys.
TikTok out.
TikTok out.
It's horrible. That's like the worst outro ever.
That was.
I
need to press that and then delete that. Oh, all right. So now I can turn off YouTube.
Oh, we're still on the YouTube.
Yep. Thank you for watching. Sorry about the iTunes top 10. It was a bit iffy.
So bad.
That was a little bit iffy. And we'll see you next week.